Section 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Author, listen to the wind and it will be rain. Introduction, source name, I run a farm in the world of cultivating immortals, alias, tags, fantasy imagination, fantasy, time travel, protagonist, Wang Hao, Ji Xiaotang. Introduction, the illegitimate son of the Wang family in a small family, Wang Hao, a monk with 5 spiritual roots who is hated by everyone and hated by dogs, was doomed to a miserable life from birth, but everything changed with the arrival of another soul. See how Wang Hao applies modern knowledge to cultivate immortality. Chapter 1. The 5 spiritual roots begin. The Lijiao Peninsula was originally a wild land. It was gradually developed tens of thousands of years ago as a bridgehead to the South China Sea for cultivation. Now it is prosperous. To the north is the Xuanhuan Mountains. There are countless monsters and dangers among them, but danger also means opportunities. Whether it is the spiritual herbs and elixirs in the mountains or the materials on the monster beasts, they attract countless immortal cultivators. Therefore, there are several monster hunting teams at every moment. Activities in the Xuanhuan Mountains. As one of the supply points for these demon hunting teams, Qingyafang City is quite prosperous. In the main room of a small courtyard surrounded by red paper, an 18-year-old boy was sitting in front of a bronze mirror with a sad face. It's over, this is the beginning of hell, and the 5 spiritual roots are even worse than that of old Devil Han. Fortunately, this face is a little bit better than the plain-looking old Devil Han. The boy's name is Wang Hao, and yes, he was just dumped by a modern soul. Wang Hao didn't know what was going on. After work, he took a few bites of food and then played blackmail with a few friends until late at night. I don't know who said, it's so boring. I still miss the time when I was studying and went out to hack the internet. Vegetable. Wang Hao casually replied, come on, what's so fun about stealing food? Is it a game that men should play? After saying this, Wang Hao didn't know why. He became more and more sleepy. When he woke up again, he came to this bird's place. Before he could finish digesting the memories of his original body, the courtyard door was pushed open, and a handsome young man with sharp eyebrows and starry eyes walked in and snorted coldly, I don't know how my father gave birth to you. Such a bastard. It's just that he has poor qualifications, but he doesn't know how to work hard, and he causes trouble all day long. Wang Hao was stunned on the spot, pointed at the young man and asked doubtfully, you are my father? You bastard, you don't even recognize me as your father now. The young man became furious and slapped Wang Hao to the ground. Wokeo, Wang Hao cried out in pain and fell to the ground. With the pain, the memory of the young man in front of him also emerged. It was really his father. His name was Wang Yanzhao. He was a core disciple of the Wang family of the Jiji family, and he was also an alchemist. Master, the reason why he looks young is because of his cultivation at the peak of Qi training. He is a cultivator. The higher the cultivation level, the more impurities are discharged from the body, so he naturally looks younger. Wang Hao's ability to reach the 3rd level of Qi training at the age of 18 with his 5 spirit root qualifications was not the result of his hard work, but the result of Wang Yanzhao's use of elixirs. Knowing this, Wang Hao glanced at Wang Yanzhao with resentment and said to himself, this is too cruel, but a father who can make elixirs is a good father. Now that he has traveled here and has poor qualifications, he cannot offend this father. Just as he was about to say a few words to ease the atmosphere, Wang Yanzhao took out a storage bag from his arms and threw it directly to Wang Hao. He looked at Wang Hao with complicated eyes. I was the one who was ashamed of your mother at the beginning. I might try to compensate you, but it's a pity that it backfired and created your stubborn temper. After hearing this, and based on more and more memories in his mind, Wang Hao felt bad. Maybe this father wanted to sever the father-son relationship with him. It's true that my father is an alchemist. He can't afford to support a loser like you. Besides, he also wants to save some money for your younger brothers and sisters. This is the last thing my father will give you. I hope you can take care of yourself in the future. After saying that, he sighed heavily and said, I have helped you solve the matter of casual cultivators. You should not pester others in the future, otherwise you will have to bear the disaster yourself. Wang Yanzhao looked at the familiar furnishings inside and outside the house. After all, he did not say anything about severing the relationship between father and son, but at the same time he also clearly told Wang Hao that he would not wipe his butt for him again in the future. Looking at Wang Yanzhao's back as he slammed the door and walked out, Wang Hao slapped the floor heavily. What's going on? What should I do next? I don't have a system. Oh, no, this seems to be the case. Speaking of the system, Wang Hao found that a mirror suddenly lit up in his mind. There were words on the mirror, just like a computer screen. Wang Hao observed it carefully and stood up suddenly. Oh, it's really a computer. Wang Hao immediately began to study it excitedly, but after studying it, he found that this was just a simple computer. There are quite a few applications, including all kinds of office software. Opening a drawing software at random is no different from the previous life. What's the use of this? I'm making a map of the world of cultivation. Everyone uses jade slips, okay? It's three-dimensional and faster than a computer. Wang Hao was disappointed, but he still studied it seriously. Sure enough, Wang Hao discovered the difference. That is, this computer is connected to your body, your eyes are cameras, your ears are microphones, and the information in your mind can be read by the computer at any time. For example, the picture in the room he is seeing now can be easily uploaded to the drawing software. It is still a three-dimensional diagram, and various functions can also render the picture and survey it. But it's useless, right? What for? When I was an architect in the world of cultivation. Well, it is somewhat useful for Qi training monks. How to say it, this computer is equivalent to an oversized jade slip, which can record everything Wang Hao sees. The reason why it is only useful for the Qi refining stage is that the spiritual consciousness of the foundation-building cultivator is strong, and it can already use spiritual consciousness to investigate, which is several times more efficient than visual vision. Even if you have two cameras, you can't compare. Wang Hao continued to investigate without giving up. Anyway, he was hated by people and dogs, and no one would know if he died in this room. He might as well use this time to figure out the true function of the golden finger, and then go out after he has a thorough understanding of this world. After using the mapping software, Wang Hao checked the evil map again. This thing is useful. It directly displays the entire Qingyafang and the surrounding map. It is very detailed, and the color of a dog on the street can be seen clearly. There are large and small skulls in the direction of Xuanhuan Mountain. Wang Hao, who often plays online games, guessed that the skull logo should mark the monsters of Xuanhuan Mountain. The small skull is a low-level monster, and the big skull is a high-level monster. As for whether it is true or not, just go and investigate and verify it later. This map is also limited. Combining the original owner's memory, Wang Hao found that only the map of the places he has been to will be unlocked, and the rest are all white. Of course, he doesn't have to go to every place. Just like playing a game, once you enter a certain area, the entire map will appear, just like the map of Xuanhuan Mountain. Wang Hao did not find that the original owner had entered such a deep area when he checked his memory, but it was already on the map. Clicking on the familiar icons one by one, Wang Hao found that these software are more or less related to this world, and they have some effect, but it is also limited. The map can help you avoid monsters and check road conditions, but this ability is also available to cultivators. The spiritual sense of cultivators can detect danger. There are also various maps for sale in the market. The situation of monsters in Xuanhuan Mountain will be updated every few days. Some shops make money by selling these maps, so this effect is very limited, and it can save some money. In addition, Wang Hao's map is updated in real time, and he can know where there are monsters in advance, but if other cultivators don't have a map, they can only detect the traces of monsters when they get close to the spiritual sense. Chapter 2 Past and Present Life. The last thing Wang Hao clicked was the icon called Penguin Farm. This icon was in the middle of the screen, but because he knew it was just a game, he didn't have any expectations for it. When he clicked it, he saw the familiar farm screen, a 5x6 grid, with only the first 2 plots of land being cultivated. Are you afraid that you'll be too bored, so you give me a casual game to play? What I want is to cultivate immortality, not to relax. Even if it's for leisure, you can play the whole Candy Crush game. That when he opened the backpack, he found 2 free seeds. Even if you change it to spiritual rice, what can it do? It's still a game. While complaining, Wang Hao's hand speed was not slow. He sowed, watered, and checked the maturity time, status, seeds, 47 hours and 59 minutes to reach the seedling stage. A plant, so long, isn't it 2 hours? But when he clicked on the props in the backpack, Wang Hao remembered that there should be free fertilizers. He couldn't wait for 2 days, so he decisively accelerated the fertilizer. Got it, ordinary fertilizer, reduced the growth time of this stage by 1 day, each stage can only be used once. Click to apply fertilizer, status, seed, reaches the seedling stage after 23 hours and 59 minutes. No way, I can only wait. Wang Hao sighed slightly, and at the same time thought about what to do next. Although he inherited the memory of the original owner, he is a modern man after all, and he doesn't understand cultivation. He still needs to get familiar with it, figure out the operation of this world, and practice his own skills, but the most important thing at present is to digest the memory of the original owner. Wang Hao's mind moved, and the memory in his mind poured out like a page. No wonder Wang Yanzhao is so angry. This kid is really a troublemaker, that he is a 5 spiritual illegitimate son of the Wang family. He bullies men and women in Qingyafang all day long, making people hate him. If it weren't for Wang Yanzhao's protection, I'm afraid he would have been killed long ago. Just a few days ago, this guy fell in love with a female cultivator and flirted with her. Although she was afraid of the power of the Wang family, she was not afraid of Wang Hao. After warning her, she hid away. Who knew that Wang Hao didn't give up? Not to mention, although the original body was not talented, he was not stupid. He first inquired about the origin of the female cultivator and learned that she had no background and was relatively poor. She had just come to Qingyafang and was looking for a place to live and wanted to settle down, so he set up a trap. He let the female cultivator rent a house in his home at a relatively cheap price. Wang Hao had someone to help her, so the female cultivator didn't notice it and was really deceived. This guy also decorated the house and made it look like a new house. When the female cultivator came in, he closed the door and pounced on her with a sinister smile. The result, of course, she was beaten to death. Otherwise how could Wang Hao travel through time? Talent, he's really a talent. In theory, this trick is not impossible, but it's too hasty. As long as she stays, it will be successful in time. You know, love grows over time. You live under the same roof. After all, you are the illegitimate son of the Wang family, and you are handsome. You are still attractive to casual cultivators. Is it the time to think about this now? Wang Hao slapped himself lightly. It's all your fault. You have led me, a young man in the new society, astray. As for his identity as the illegitimate son of the Wang family, it is a complete romance drama. 20 years ago, Wang Yanzhao, as the alchemist trained by the Wang family, came to the Wang family store in Qingyafang to practice. His mother, Xianxia, was a casual cultivator who made a living by hunting monsters in Qingyafang. Therefore, she often had to sell the monster materials and some spiritual herbs to the shops, and exchange them for the elixirs and talismans she needed. The two often came into contact with each other. One was handsome and the other was beautiful, and naturally they developed feelings for each other. As the core child of the Wang family, Wang Yanzhao had both fire and wood spiritual roots, and was also an alchemist. He had long been designated as a foundation-building seed. How could the family allow him to marry a casual cultivator of unknown origin? The key point was that his marriage had long been decided, and it was a female cultivator from the Li family, another foundation-building family in Qingyafang. So the Wang family broke up the couple and transferred Wang Yanzhao back to the family residence, because young people acted impulsively and their feelings faded over time. Unfortunately, things were not that simple. After Wang Yanzhao was confined by the family, Qin Xiu'er found out that she was pregnant. But she was angry that Wang Yanzhao did not dare to fight, so she left without saying goodbye and did not inform Wang Yanzhao and the Wang family about this matter. She gave birth to Wang Hao alone. When Wang Hao was 5 years old, he was diagnosed with 5 spiritual roots, which was a big blow to Qin Xiu'er, but she was reluctant to abandon her own child. In order for Wang Hao to have more resources for cultivation, she worked harder to go into the mountains to hunt monsters and collect spiritual medicine. There are unexpected events in the world. At the same time, Qin Xiuer's cultivation of the 6th level of Qi training was destined to encounter this disaster when she went to the dangerous Xuanhuan mountain. When Wang Hao was 10 years old, the monster hunting team Qin Xiuer was encountered a 2nd level upper grade monster and was almost wiped out. Only 2 people returned with the seriously injured Qin Xiuer. That year, Wang Yanzhao had married a monk from the Li family and was released. He happened to meet Qin Xiuer, who was seriously injured and beaten to death. The Qiumiao drama between the two continued. Qin Xiuer could not be saved, but before her death, Qin Xiuer still told Wang Yanzhao the identity of Wang Hao, hoping that Wang Yanzhao could take him back to the Wang family to recognize his ancestors. Section 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Wang Yanzhao learned that he had a son, he was willing to let Wang Hao recognize his ancestors even without Qin Xiuer's request. Unfortunately, Wang Hao didn't want to. Wang Hao had lived with his mother since he was a child. When he asked about his father, he heard Qin Xiuer's angry words. How could he have a good impression of Wang Yanzhao? Wang Yanzhao's Taoist partner was called Li Dishi. He knew about the little things between Wang Yanzhao and Qin Xiuer, but the Wang family had already dealt with it. Because of the needs of the family, they didn't ask Wang Yanzhao about Qin Xiuer. But they were very unhappy to have a son suddenly. The Wang family would not make the new daughter-in-law unhappy for a waste with 5 spiritual roots. Wang Yanzhao had no choice but to keep Wang Hao in Qingniafang City. Fortunately, he needed to sit in the Wang family shop to make pills and could look after him from time to time. Li Dishi felt that Qin Xiuer was dead. If he didn't allow Wang Yanzhao to take care of Wang Hao, he was afraid that the couple would turn against each other, so he could only acquiesce to Wang Hao's existence. The next thing is even simpler. Wang Hao blamed Wang Yanzhao for his mother's death. He never treated Wang Yanzhao well. He always did the opposite of what he taught him. It would be a miracle if he could learn well. After learning this, Wang Hao was speechless. It would be great if I had traveled a few years earlier. Maybe I could use Wang Yanzhao's guilt to join the Wang family. Now, Wang Yanzhao's affection has been gone. It's too difficult to start as a casual cultivator. Although Wang Hao has never cultivated immortals, he has read so many novels. How can he not know the hardships of casual cultivators? A casual cultivator has no inheritance and no resources. Everything depends on his own life. There are very few who can achieve something. For example, in the South China Sea cultivation world, there are dozens of Yuanian cultivators, but none of them are casual cultivators. Chapter 3 Cultivation Data Analysis. After learning about his past experiences, he began to check his cultivation situation again. His skills are common stuff. Changchun Gong, would attribute skills. He has 5 spiritual roots. In theory, he can practice any attribute skills, even multi-attribute skills. With all 5 elements, you can learn all kinds of arts. What the hell, it takes talent, and having the corresponding spiritual roots is just the foundation. Once you solve the problem of whether you can learn, whether you learn or not is another matter. Wang Yanzhao once gave him a dual attribute technique, but it was a pity that the original owner didn't want it. According to the original owner's understanding, if a cultivator with multiple spiritual roots practices the corresponding multi-attribute technique, the practice speed can be accelerated, sometimes reaching several times that of a single attribute technique. After calming down, Wang Hao began to practice with his eyes closed according to the original owner's memory. A warm current flowed out of his dantian and formed a zhoutian along the meridians. As the technique was running, Wang Hao felt that the surrounding spiritual energy was slowly absorbed into his body, and his mana increased slightly. Looking inward, he found that his dantian was surrounded by a thin green mist, but there was still a trace of red, yellow, blue, and brown mist around the green mist. Wang Hao frowned slightly. According to the original owner, the green one is the wood attribute aura, and the other colors are naturally the other 4 auras. This situation is very normal. He has 5 spiritual roots and can absorb the 5 elements of aura. This does not affect his cultivation, but it will affect the purity of his mana. The reason why the heavenly spiritual root has no bottleneck in breaking through is because the heavenly spiritual root is a single attribute spiritual root, which can only absorb one kind of aura, and the mana is naturally pure. If you use the game panel to understand, cultivation is the process of continuously expanding the capacity of the dantian and meridians, and setting the upper limit of the mana that the dantian can accommodate in the first stage to 100. Assuming that you can break through after reaching it, this mana must be the mana corresponding to your practice method. For the wood attribute heavenly spiritual root, it means that you can break through after the wood attribute mana value reaches 100/100. This is very easy for single attribute spiritual roots, and it is a matter of course. However, there are inevitably other attribute auras in the body of multi-spiritual roots. The capacity limit of the dantian is there. If there is only a little other attribute, then the attribute you practice cannot reach 100%, the more spiritual roots you have, the more spiritual energy you absorb, and the more mana you have. For example, dual spiritual roots can only reach 99/100, triple spiritual roots 98/100, and Wang Hao's 5 spiritual roots can only reach 96/100. There are two most common ways for multi-spiritual root cultivators to break through. One is to practice in a place with richer spiritual energy and madly inhale spiritual energy to reach the breakthrough requirements. In modern terms, it means compressing the spiritual energy. How can a 100 milliliters bottle be filled with 110 milliliters of air? Just increase the pressure. More spiritual energy enters the dantian. Even if it is not 100% pure, it has reached the requirement of a single attribute reaching 100 breakthroughs. Another way is to take drugs. In fact, it is the same as the previous one. In a short period of time, the quality of the spiritual energy in the dantian is increased, so that the single attribute reaches the breakthrough requirements. Wang Hao's difficulty is that the pressure he needs to reach is greater. If a dual attribute cultivator can break through with one pill, he needs 4 pills, which will cause another problem. His dantian and meridians cannot withstand such a great pressure and break. For this reason, some multi-spiritual root cultivators have created multi-attribute exercises. Wang Hao guessed that if the dual attributes are expressed in digital form, the panel will become 50+50. As long as the spiritual power of both attributes reaches 50, a breakthrough can be achieved. The 5 attributes are 20+20+20+20+20. This is probably why multi-spiritual root cultivators practice multi-attribute exercises faster than single-attribute exercises. This raises another question for Wang Hao. If a dual-attribute cultivator only needs to reach 50+50 to break through by practicing a dual-attribute exercise, wouldn't he be faster than a natural root cultivator? You should know that cultivators can absorb multiple attributes of spiritual energy at the same time when practicing, and they don't have to refine one to 50 before refining another. Obviously not. According to the original owner's memory, most people with heavenly spiritual roots can reach the perfection of Qi training and break through the foundation before the age of 20, while those with dual spiritual roots need to be over 35 years old, those with triple spiritual roots need to be 50 or 60 years old, and those with quadruple spiritual roots need to be 80 or 90 years old to reach the perfection of Qi training. Those with 5 spiritual roots are even weaker, and may not reach perfection before the age of 120. Wang Yanzhao, who practices dual attribute exercises, is an example. He has dual spiritual roots of fire and wood. He has perfected Qi training at the age of 38 this year, but it cannot be calculated that way. Wang Yanzhao was delayed by emotional issues at the beginning. He also needs to make pills, which will also delay his practice. He reached the 8th level of Qi training at the age of 20, which is faster than ordinary dual spiritual roots, but still slower than heavenly spiritual roots. If he does not make pills and only practices, it may be faster. Wang Hao's eyes lit up, which means that the speed of practicing the corresponding multi-attribute exercises will not be much slower than that of heavenly spiritual roots. Wang Hao suddenly became excited and stopped practicing. He turned on the computer and started drawing. Drawing is really good. Hypothesis 1. All cultivators absorb external spiritual energy at the same total rate. If the channel for each person to receive spiritual energy is compared to a pipe, the cross-sectional area of the pipe should be the same for all people. Except that the heavenly spiritual root has only one spiritual root of one attribute and can own the entire pipe, while the cultivators with multiple spiritual roots share the pipe with multiple spiritual roots. Hypothesis 2. The speed at which cultivators with multiple spiritual roots absorb single attribute spiritual energy is related to the number of their spiritual roots that a large water pipe appears on the screen. A single spiritual root has an entire water pipe, but a double spiritual root has to divide the water pipe into two, and a 5 spiritual root has to divide it into 5 parts, if all of them practice a single attribute technique. The heavenly spiritual root will practice from the age of 5, and complete the chi training at the age of 20, which takes 15 years. The double spiritual root will take 30 to 35 years between the ages of 35 and 40, and the 3 spiritual roots will take 45 to 55 years, considering that multiple spiritual roots will encounter bottlenecks. The speed of practice of a single spiritual root is about twice that of a double spiritual root, 3 times that of a triple spiritual root, and more than 5 times that of a 5 spiritual root, taking into account the example of Wang Yanzhao's dual attribute technique. This hypothesis is valid, that is to say, if Wang Hao opened all the water pipes of his 5 spiritual roots, the flow rate would be the same as that of the heavenly spiritual root. However, he could only open one wood-attributed water pipe when practicing the wood-attributed Changchun Gong, so his cultivation speed was only 1/5 of that of others. I must get the dual attribute technique in Wang Yanzhao's hand, so that my cultivation speed can be doubled, which will be faster than that of the 3 attribute cultivator. According to the 15-year chi training of a single spiritual root, I need 37.5 years. I am only 18 years old now. Even if I encounter a bottleneck and delay for a few years, I can still build a foundation before the age of 60. Moreover, I have already reached the 3rd level of chi training, so there is great hope before the age of 50. Wang Hao clenched his fist heavily. It is not easy. He saw the hope of building a foundation. Otherwise, with his qualifications, he would never be able to build a foundation in his lifetime. Unlike Han Lao Mo, who has unlimited pills to eat, of course, there will definitely be some restrictions. Otherwise, wouldn't everyone be able to match the heavenly spiritual root as long as they practice the corresponding multi-attribute techniques? There should be some conflict. After all, the 5 elements are mutually reinforcing and mutually restraining. If you have dual spiritual roots of water and fire, you can refine the spiritual energy of water and fire in your dantian at the same time. Water can extinguish fire, and water evaporates when it meets fire. If you add some chemical knowledge, water will decompose into hydrogen and oxygen at high temperature. This dantian may explode. Chapter 4 Red Lotus Fantasy Wood Sutra. Of course, all this is Wang Hao's guess, but it is very likely to be correct based on the knowledge of the original body. Besides, Wang Yanzhao's example is in front of him. He must also know that practicing dual attribute exercises can make his practice speed faster, otherwise he would not have persuaded the original owner to change his practice again and again. As far as Wang Hao knows, there are very few multi-attribute exercises in this world, and there is no one that can be circulated on the market and known by casual practitioners. At least there is no one around Qingye Fang. The Wang family must have dug up the grave of some master to have one. Oh no, it is the inheritance of some old predecessor. Wang Hao does not understand, nor is he interested in understanding. He only wants to get the exercises in Wang Yanzhao's hands now. Oh, didn't Wang Yanzhao, my cheap father, give me a storage bag? Will he also give me the skills? Wang Hao slapped his head, stood up from the bed, and began to look for the storage bag left by Wang Yanzhao. Here. Wang Hao's excited heart and trembling hands refined the storage bag according to the method of refining the storage bag in memory. Since Wang Yanzhao had erased his own imprint, Wang Hao refined the storage bag quite smoothly and left his own soul imprint in it. Wang Hao hurriedly put his spiritual sense in and checked the contents of his storage bag. The first thing that caught his eye was a small pile of glittering spiritual stones. Wow, 100 spiritual stones. Lao Wang's annual salary seems to be 30 spiritual stones, plus his salary from the Wang family store. Can it be more than 50? Where did he get so many spiritual stones? Is alchemy so profitable? I want to learn alchemy. Wang Hao slapped himself again. you are stupid, a time traveler, is alchemy so easy to learn? Lao Wang is a natural alchemy seedling with wood and fire spiritual roots. You want to compare with him? Find a method. Several jade bottles, which should be the elixir given by Lao Wang, a sword, a first-level middle-grade magic weapon, a shield, a first-level middle-grade defense magic weapon. Lao Wang is really good, he can deal with. Why is there a pile of charcoal and a tripod? For cooking. 3 jade slips, it should be this. Wang Hao's spiritual sense moved, and he took out all 3 jade slips, and hurriedly picked up one of them and put it between his eyebrows. Alchemy, is that cauldron an alchemy furnace? Old Wang thinks highly of me. Can I, with 5 spiritual roots, make alchemy? I can't. I don't have the ability. I don't even understand the concept of alchemy. Wang Hao picked up another jade slip, Introduction to the First Order Talisman. Hey, when Wang Hao saw this, he wanted to slap himself in the mouth again, and cursed secretly that the original owner was really nothing. What a good father, he did this, and he was still thinking about his future. But what I want is the dual attribute technique. I have the last jade slip. If I don't have any more, I have to shamelessly ask Lao Wang for it. Wang Hao was already ready to cry and beg in front of Wang Yanzhao. The Red Lotus Phantom Wood Sutra, this is it. Dad, I will always love you. Wang Hao cried out excitedly. Don't be excited, don't be excited, don't be overwhelmed with joy. Let's see if we can practice first. Wang Hao began to investigate carefully with a feeling of trepidation. The result is gratifying. As long as you have fire and wood spiritual roots, you can practice it regardless of whether you have dual spiritual roots or 5 spiritual roots. However, the technique only has the first 2 levels and can only be practiced to the middle stage of Qi training. According to the introduction at the beginning of the technique, the Red Lotus Phantom Wood Sutra has a total of 12 levels, which can be practiced to the late nascent soul stage. Old Wang only gave 2 levels. It must be because he does not have the authority. I think this technique should be a top secret of the Wang family and cannot be passed on at will. For outsiders. Wang Hao murmured to himself. He was Lao Wang's son, not an outsider. Lao Wang gave him good rules, but Lao Wang probably didn't believe in his nature and was afraid that he would exchange them for spiritual stones, so he just gave 20%. A technique that can only be practiced to the middle stage of Qi training cannot be sold for a lot of money, and not many people will want it. Classics, sutras, tactics, and kung fu are generally graded according to this level. The further back you go, the more you pull your hips, the more bottlenecks you have in your practice, and the less skilled you are in your magical powers. But that's not all, that's what the big sects do. Many of the exercises created by casual cultivators are named according to their mood. There are also some small sects who name their internal exercises as so-and-so classics or so-and-so scriptures in order to gain a higher profile. It's just a scam. The magical power that comes with the skill is usually only available in the foundation building stage, so Wang Hao can't see anything from the first 2 layers in his hand, but does he have a choice? No, if you don't practice the Red Lotus Magic Wood Heart Sutra, how can you go out and look for opportunities? As for his 3rd level of Qi training, which was achieved by Old Wang using elixirs, he might not even be able to fight a first-level low-grade monster, let alone look for opportunities in the caves of some seniors. King Niafang is located on a 2nd-level high-grade spiritual vein. Because of Wang Yanzhao's relationship, Wang Hao's small courtyard is not far from the center, and the spiritual energy is relatively sufficient, enough for him to complete the Qi refining stage. After gathering his mood, Wang Hao looked out the window and found that the sky was getting dark, and he realized that he had been in the room for a day. Wang Hao couldn't help but rub his stomach. No wonder I feel so hungry. Even a cultivator needs to eat enough. Looking for memories, I came to the kitchen. There were 2 rice vats. One was filled with ordinary rice. In the other vat, only a thin layer of spiritual rice was left. Fortunately, there was still half of it in the storage bag given by Wang Yanzhao. The bag, according to the introduction, is for you to use as a material for refining bigu pill. Let's put aside the matter of alchemy for now. Even if I have the qualifications to master the martial arts, it will take 30 or 40 years to build the foundation. I can't waste too much time. After the age of 60, as the Qi training monk's blood begins to decline, it will take them 30 or 40 years to build the foundation. I hope it will be greatly reduced. But having said that, the elixir can greatly reduce the time of hard training. If you are really talented, you can't try it. There is no reason why Han Laoma can practice it but I can't. Wang Hao was thinking about things while washing rice and putting it into the pot. Whether it was his previous life or his original life, he was very skilled in cooking. After a while, a pot of white rice and a dish of roasted vegetables were placed on the table. The meals are simple, but they are all spiritual things that contain spiritual energy, which are good for the monk's practice, but they should not be excessive. There is no harm in eating too much, but Wang Hao's current cultivation speed cannot refine so much spiritual energy, which will cause waste. Even with Wang Yanzhao taking care of him, Wang Hao eats ordinary rice most of the year, and the spiritual rice is only available one day. He only eats when he wants to practice. The current price of spiritual rice is 10 kilograms of a low-grade spiritual stone, and Wang Hao can refine 1 kilogram of spiritual rice a day. Even if he replaces all the spiritual stones Wang Yanzhao gave him with spiritual rice, it will be enough for Wang Hao to practice for about 3 years. Although spiritual rice is expensive, it is still worth the money. It can be practiced twice as fast as simply refining the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. If you change it to elixirs, the effect will be better, but it will also be more expensive. Therefore, cultivating immortals is not only about qualifications, but also resources. For wealthy couples, wealth is the first priority. This is why the core disciples of famous sects can build foundations at a young age, while ordinary monks with the same qualifications as them have to wait several years or even decades. Section 3. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. In addition to the lack of cultivation resources, the most important thing for ordinary cultivators is that even if they have perfected their Qi training, they have no way or financial resources to obtain the foundation building pill. The number of families and independent cultivators around Qingyafang exceeds 50,000, but there are only a dozen foundation-building cultivators. Most of the foundation-building cultivators are from the 5 major families, and there are only 3 independent cultivators. Chapter 5 can't withdraw cash. It's not easy for the 5 major families to get the foundation-building pill. The more stable way is to buy it from Xuanhuan. In order to win over its affiliated families, Xuanhuan will sell a foundation-building pill to each of the 5 major families every 20 years. The price is not low, up to 50,000 low-grade spirit stones. Small families like the Wang family can't save up 50,000 spirit stones in 20 years, so they will only buy a foundation-building pill every 40 or even 60 years. In this case, Xuanhuan will put the foundation-building pill on the auction to give independent cultivators a chance. This is also one of the reasons why so many independent cultivators can gather around Qingyafang. Wang Hao shook his head. Foundation building is still far away from him. There is no need to think about the foundation building pill now. After dinner, Wang Hao began to study the Red Lotus Magic Wood Sutra seriously and prepared to change his practice. Changing practice is a big deal for cultivators. Fortunately, Wang Hao's practice is low, and Changchun Gong has only practiced the first level. Changing practice is much simpler than for cultivators in the middle and late stages of Qi training. In this way, Wang Hao meditated for 2 days, simulated several times in his mind, and even used mapping software to draw a meridian operation diagram, marking the core meridian nodes, and then dared to try to practice according to the practice route of the Red Lotus Magic Wood Sutra. It was also the first time for Wang Hao to change his practice. If he knew that it would waste so much time, he would not eat spiritual rice that night. He was completely wasted sitting for 2 days. Later, he learned to be smart and changed to eating ordinary rice to fill his stomach. Except for a few major meridians, the new practice route is completely different from Changchun Gong, and the progress is extremely slow. It was also extremely painful to open up new meridians. With Wang Hao's gritted teeth and persistence, he successfully ran the Red Lotus Magic Wood Sutra for a cycle on the 9th day. Wang Hao breathed a sigh of relief as he watched the surrounding fire and wood spirits being drawn by him and slowly entering his dantian to form a yin-yang fish-shaped cyclone. Finally succeeded. Let's cook a pot of spirit rice to reward myself first, and then continue to practice and consolidate, that the spirit in his dantian is very thin now, with only the strength of the first level of qi training, but his dantian has been expanded to the size of the third level of qi training by Changchun Gong. Next, as long as he continues to operate the exercises and absorb spirits, he will soon be able to recover the third level of qi training. This time will not be too long, just like a cultivator who has exhausted his mana in casting spells and can recover after sitting in meditation for several hours. However, he is changing his practice method, and the new method is still unfamiliar. Some meridians have not been opened up before, but now they are used. It will take a lot of time to open these new meridians to the extent that they can withstand the third level of qi training. By the way, the spirit rice planted in the farm should be ripe. Let's see if there are any changes first. Wang Hao still has expectations for his golden finger in his heart. With a thought, he clicked on the farm. The spiritual rice was indeed ripe. He clicked on the harvest icon. A total of 200 kilograms of spiritual rice were harvested from the 2 plots of land. Wang Hao clicked on the warehouse and sold 100 kilograms. The settlement was made with spiritual stones, which was about the same price as in reality. Seeing the balance change from 0 to 10, Wang Hao licked his tongue excitedly. Success or failure depends on this one move, that he communicated frantically with his mind, trying to take out the 10 spiritual stones. Unfortunately, it was useless, and there was no movement at all. Damn, there is no withdrawal button, this is a pitfall. He couldn't help but curse. After a long time, Wang Hao recovered and comforted himself. Forget it, maybe it's because of the low level. The withdrawal function may require level 5 or 10. When playing games, you have to be patient. So he cleared the straw from the 2 plots of land, opened his backpack and prepared to continue planting, but found that the backpack was empty. The 2 seed scent had been used up by him. This should be purchased in the store. He opened the store and there were indeed rows of seeds: spiritual rice, spiritual wheat, yellow bud grass, spiritual peach, spiritual apricot. Red blood ginseng is all there. This thing is one of the main ingredients of the foundation building pill. The more Wang Hao read, the more shocked he was. Not only red blood ginseng, but also the core medicinal material of the foundation building pill, Ningyuan fruit, was also there. Turning the page to continue reading, Wang Hao opened his mouth in surprise. Even the spiritual medicine seeds needed for the nascent soul stage are there. But unfortunately, these seeds are all locked, and it seems that they are not unlocked by level. Spiritual wheat, yellow bud grass and several other kinds are first-level low-grade spiritual plants like spiritual rice. If they are unlocked by level, it doesn't make sense that spiritual rice is unlocked but others are not. Does it have to find seeds in reality? There is no need to wait for this later, he really has it. He doesn't have high-level ones, but he still has low-level ones. For example, the broad-leaved grass used by the monk as a vegetable is similar to the small green vegetables in his previous life. It is a first-level low-grade spiritual plant. He has planted this thing in his yard, and there are many seeds in the storage bag, but he didn't try it directly with seeds. Instead, he came to the spiritual field in the courtyard. It was called a spiritual field, but in fact, it was 2 acres of land. Wang Hao usually used it as a vegetable garden. As he approached the vegetable garden, Wang Hao observed the status of the seeds in the store. I just saw that it was not unlocked. Wang Hao wanted to reach out and pull one, but he retracted his hand before he touched it, turned his head and walked towards the kitchen. He remembered that there were already 2 broadleaf grasses with rhizomes removed in the kitchen, so he reached out and picked them up. The broadleaf grass seeds in the store were still not unlocked. Without rhizomes, you can't continue to plant, and you can't unlock it. So I returned to the vegetable garden, and without hesitation, I reached out and pulled out a broadleaf grass. The broadleaf seeds in the store immediately lit up. Did the unlocking succeed? That without thinking much, a portion of broadleaf grass seeds only cost 1 spirit stone. so he immediately bought one, sowing success. Status, germination stage, reaching seedling stage after 23 hours and 59 minutes. As long as it comes into contact with a living body, it can be unlocked without seeds, which is much more convenient, that if they all need seeds, the low-level ones are fine. No one sells the high-level ones, but living spiritual strains are much simpler. Generally, the elixirs sold in the market are with rhizomes and are sealed outside. The purpose of this jade box is mainly for some monks such as alchemists or some body refiners who need to prepare medicines. Older elixirs are not easy to get together. When you encounter one, buy one kind. In order to maintain the potency of the medicine for a long time, after buying it back usually replanted, of course, live spiritual strains are more expensive than simple medicinal materials. Don't think that anyone will buy live spiritual plants and take them back to cultivate and plant until they produce seeds. It's okay, but it's not necessary, because low-level spiritual medicines are of low value and the seeds are already widespread, so there's no need to do this. As for the high-level training period, which can take hundreds of years, this time cost is too huge, and only big families and sects can afford it. It's a pity that the current farm is just a game. What can I do if I unlock the seeds? The spiritual stones cannot be taken out. It would be great if the spiritual rice grown on the farm could be eaten. As soon as Wang Hao finished speaking, he saw a white light in front of his eyes. Flash, there is an extra cloth bag, Chapter 6 The Magical Use of Farms. Huh? Spiritual rice? Wang Hao's brain shut down for a few seconds before he stepped forward to check the bag. It turned out to be spiritual rice. It weighed about 100 kilograms, his face couldn't help but be ecstatic. It turns out this is how the farm is used. Isn't it similar to the spiritual plant space in some novels? It's just that my own farm is more worry-free, and you don't have to operate it manually. At the same time, I started to calculate in my mind, usually, the yield of spiritual rice ranges from 50 to 100 kilograms per acre. It mainly depends on whether the monks take care of it. This thing is not very profitable, but farming is a time-consuming thing. Many monks pinch it from time to time. The falling rain technique doesn't care about weeding and insecticide. In this case, the yield can be high only. If it is looked after by a professional spiritual planter, the yield will be much higher. The farm can achieve the highest yield, which is equivalent to the spiritual field carefully tended by Ling Jifu. The farm's spiritual rice planting cycle is only 10 days, which is 1/10 of the time in reality. His current 2 plots of land can produce 200 kilograms of spiritual rice in 10 days, worth 20 spiritual stones, which is 60 per month. Year 702, this is a big deal. Lao Wang doesn't earn as much as he does. Unfortunately, he can't return to the Wang family now. If there is a family as a foundation, he can cultivate the Wang family into the overlord of Qingniafeng City in a few years. Wang Hao, who is familiar with the novels about cultivating immortals, knows that cultivating immortals should be based on the word go first. He must know the crime of holding a jade. If he dares to sell a large amount of spiritual rice, he will be targeted sooner or later, and Lao Wang will not be able to protect him at all. And according to the routine of the farm game, if he wants to unlock more land, he also needs money. The land should also be upgraded to red land, gold land, etc., which all costs money, so the output of the farm cannot be changed in the short term, and it still needs to be based on the goal is to open up more land. This is just like playing a game again. However, it should be no problem for Wang Hao to eat some by himself. He has converted to dual attribute exercises and has a sufficient supply of spiritual rice. The time for perfect qi training has been greatly shortened, and there is hope for foundation building. Wang Hao purchased a portion of spiritual rice seeds and planted them on the spare acre. He clicked on the third piece of land and found that it cost 100 spiritual stones to unlock. He frowned slightly. The price was not low. If he currently has 2 pieces of fully planted spiritual rice, he can get 200 kilograms of spiritual rice in 10 days. He has to eat 10 kilograms and only has 190. He can sell 19 spiritual stones. To buy 2 seeds, he needs 2 spiritual stones. Stone, which means that he can only accumulate 17 spiritual stones in 10 days. He needs to plant 6 crops of spiritual rice to accumulate enough spiritual stones to unlock the 3rd piece of land. According to the nature of the penguin game, the cost of subsequent land unlocking will double. It may take decades to fully unlock the land for 30 yuan. It really can't be lost. 30 acres of land, 10 times the time flow rate, is equivalent to 300 acres of spiritual land at the normal flow rate. It is more than a small family like the Wang family with only one foundation-building monk, but not as powerful as the established foundation-building family. Not to mention medium-sized families and sects with Jindan in the formation. After clearing up his mood, Wang Hao actually cooked a pot of rice with the spiritual rice produced on the farm, and then started practicing again. There are no years of cultivation. In the blink of an eye, 2 months later, Wang Hao, who was sitting on the futon, opened his eyes. At this moment, he had recovered the 3rd level of qi training, and was even more advanced than before. The red and green yin and yang fish in his dantian the air mass seemed much thicker. The penguin farm has already opened up the 3rd piece of land. The price for the 4th piece of land is less than he expected. It only requires 150 spiritual stones. It still takes 6 crops to unlock the spiritual rice. In addition, he made a panel for himself. Ahem, it's mainly for bad taste. Without a panel, it always feels like we're not playing a game. Cross it out and cultivate immortality. View panel. Name, Wang Hao, age, 18 years old, cultivation, 3rd level of Qi training 91.5/. Kung Fu, the 1st level of the Red Lotus Magic with Heart Sutra, mana, 90/90. Skill, alchemy, 1st level low-grade alchemy, not yet started, talisman making, 1st level low-grade talisman making technique, not yet started, spells, fireball, not mastered, entanglement, not mastered, supernatural powers, you have not yet mastered magical powers. Looking at the panel, Wang Hao felt embarrassed. What can you write if you haven't entered the door or mastered it? But he felt that if he didn't write it, this panel would only have 5 lines, which was too few and ugly. This mana value of 90 was not written randomly by him, but was strictly calculated. Because he didn't master the spell, he used a 1st level low-grade magic weapon to hit a flat attack as 1 mana value, and he could hit 90 times in total. As for the 91.5/. After the 3rd level of Qi training, 91.5 is because his mana is mixed, and only 90 can be used, but after using up the available mana in the Dantian, there are still 3 other types of spiritual energy that cannot be used, so 1.5 is added. The question mark behind it means that he doesn't know where the upper limit of the Dantian capacity of the 3rd level of Qi training is, and he is still slowly practicing and expanding. But he feels that he is about to touch the threshold of the 4th level of Qi training, recalling his previous mana situation when he was practicing Qi at the 1st and 2nd levels. He set the maximum capacity of Dantian at the 1st level to 50 and at the 2nd level to 75. This allowed Wang Hao to find the pattern again. He guessed that the upper limit of the 3rd level was 112.5. His panel is not useless. It can monitor the mana in the body. The computer is integrated with him, so this can still be done. Of course, this is cultivation. Cultivation cannot be explained by science in many cases. If you want to improve it, you need more data support. The 3rd level of Qi training is only the initial stage of Qi training, and Fireball and Entanglement are spells of the middle stage of Qi training. It's not that Wang Hao doesn't want to learn, but he can't learn it at all. As for some 1st level low-grade spells such as Rainfall and Condensation Finger, Wang Hao feels that there is no need to learn them. He is not going to be a spiritual plant husband, and he is not going to fight with others now. Why learn this? It's a waste of time. It's better to practice and enter the middle stage of Qi training earlier. After a lot of calculations and observations, his current daily cultivation speed is about 0.18, and if he does not eat spiritual rice, it is 0.09. Obviously, he has no shortage of spiritual rice, and he can expand the capacity of his Dantian a little in about 6 days. If he really calculates according to the third level upper limit of 90, he will need nearly 2 months to reach the third level peak. Section 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. However, he still had 2 bottles of spirit-gathering pills left by Wang Yanzhao. There were 10 pills in 1 bottle. How long would it take if he didn't take them now? Taking medicine should make it faster. No wonder the original owner only practiced qi at the 3rd level when he was 18 years old. Now that I have converted to qigong and have a sufficient supply of spiritual rice, my practice is still so slow. The 5 spiritual roots are rubbish. Wang Hao laughed at himself. He lacks nothing, does not need to go out to purchase, and continues to practice behind closed doors. 2.5 months later, Wang Hao, who was constantly taking drugs, finally reached the threshold of the 4th level of qi training. The effect of practicing the spirit-gathering pill was good, not twice as good as taking the spirit rice, but it was not far behind. The efficacy of 1 spirit-gathering pill is enough for him to refine it for 6 days. He has taken 15 spirit-gathering pills this month. The price of a bottle of spirit-gathering pill in Qingyefang City is 30 spirit stones, which takes 2.5 months. 45 spiritual stones fell. Don't think that 45 spiritual stones is very little. Wang Yanzhao is the elder of the Wang family. His annual family salary is only 40 spiritual stones. 10 of them are added by his status as an elder. Generally, in the later stages of qi training, there are only 30. In the early stage of qi, monks only had a pitiful 10 spirit stones a year, and spirit-gathering pills could only be bought by the pill. How could they dare to eat them like jelly beans like him? Chapter 7. The 4th level of qi training. As for whether there is erysipelas or not, Wang Hao can't care so much. It doesn't matter if Han Laoma takes more than him. His panel now changes to name, Wang Hao, age, 18 years old, cultivation level, 3rd level of qi refining 111/112.5, Kung Fu, the 1st level of the Red Lotus Magic Wood Heart Sutra. Mana, 111 out of 111, skill, alchemy, 1st level low-grade alchemy, not yet started, talisman making, 1st level low-grade talisman making technique, not yet started, spells, fireball, not mastered, entanglement, not mastered, supernatural powers, you have not yet mastered magical powers. If you want to make a breakthrough, you need to continue to increase the spiritual power of the fire and wood attributes by 1.5 points. The efficacy of 1 spirit-gathering pill is no longer enough. 2 pills are enough, but it is a bit risky. After all, he refined a spirit-gathering pill. Then I felt my meridian swelled greatly and felt a dull pain. Take 2 pills at once to avoid being overstretched. But is there anything in this world without any risk? Wang Hao has been practicing in the house since he came to this world. He has no worries. If he dies, he will die. Maybe he can go back and play black games with his friends. Wang Hao first had a good meal, looked outside the door and resisted the idea of going out for a walk, and returned to meditation. After his spiritual power circulated for a week, he resolutely swallowed 2 spirit-gathering pills. The abundant medicinal power exploded in the abdominal cavity, and as the exercise moved into the dantian, the tearing pain also followed. Aha, Wang Hao grunted, sweat dripping from his face. Hold it, the technique is still running, we haven't lost yet. Wang Hao gritted his teeth and insisted on running the technique. Everywhere the powerful medicine hit, the meridians were torn, and the pain intensified. But Wang Hao knows that as long as his technique can operate, it means there is still a possibility of success. While the dantian and meridians are being torn apart, the tolerance and capacity are also increasing. Sweat soaked his clothes and dripped down onto the floor. Wang Hao's face became more and more ferocious and haggard. But he still persists. 5 days later, with a slight pop sound, Wang Hao's dantian suddenly relaxed. But the pressure on his body was rising, and his clenched teeth finally loosened. Wang Hao ran the technique for another half day, and then felt relieved when he saw that his realm was consolidated. He opened his eyes, exhaled heavily, and said with a smile, the 4th level of qi refining is not that difficult. That it's not that he was bragging, But that although the process was dangerous and painful, it was not fatal. This made him feel more confident about the future of Qi training. It is said that there are three major bottlenecks during the Qi training period. The first is the breakthrough from the early stage of Qi training to the middle stage of Qi training, then the breakthrough from the middle stage of Qi practice to the late stage, and finally the breakthrough from the 8th level to the 9th level. He has now broken through the midterm bottleneck and can steadily practice to the 6th level of Qi training according to the rules. Wang Hao performed a simple cleansing technique on himself, let out a comfortable ah, stretched and said to himself, now that we have reached the middle stage of Qi refining, we can learn some spells, as well as alchemy and you also need to spend time trying to make talismans, and there are only 3 spirit gathering pills left, so you have to go out and buy a batch. Wang Hao secretly planned. Lao Wang gave him the alchemy furnace. The raw material for the bigu pills was spiritual rice, so he didn't need to buy it from outside. Lao Wang didn't give him the talisman pens for making the talismans. He probably didn't have them on hand, or maybe he didn't have them. I don't expect to master the art of making talismans at all, but I am familiar with the concept of talisman making in the early stage. Copying talisman seals does not require practical practice, just use ordinary paper and pen. I really feel like I have the talent and it's never too late to buy. According to the calculation of the power of the spirit gathering pill, to reach the 5th level of Qi training, he needs at least 12 bottles of pills, which is 360 spirit stones. Currently, he only has 113, of which 100 were given by Lao Wang. The gap is huge. It seems like we have to sell some of the farm's spiritual rice. In addition, we should look for some spiritual plants. The income from just growing spiritual rice is too low. The land on the farm is currently at the 1st level, and 2nd level crops cannot be grown. However, there are still many 1st level spiritual plants with good benefits. Disadvantages such as being difficult to cultivate and consuming fertility do not exist on the farm. Wang Hao can definitely look for such spiritual plants. There are currently 4 plots of land on the farm, and it will take some time to save enough money for the 5th plot. However, Wang Hao plans to sell part of the spiritual rice, so he can only postpone it. Once he buys spiritual plants with high economic benefits, he can speed up the cultivation. So Wang Hao took all his wealth and went out. He doesn't wander around randomly, but if he comes across something he doesn't know much about, he will take a look. For example, if he sees a shop selling magic tools, he will always go in and ask the price. Lao Wang only gave him 1 magic tool for defense, and he still lacks an offensive one. The original low-grade flying sword is not suitable for him after the middle stage of Qi training, so he must buy one, but the priority is still after spiritual plants and elixirs, but since he saw it, it's always right to ask the price. After walking around the street for half a day, Wang Hao basically grasped the price of ordinary 1st-grade medium-grade magic tools. Depending on the quality, it is between 20 and 50 spirit stones. This price is not expensive in Wang Hao's opinion, but it is the price of a bottle of Jilingdan, but ordinary cultivators may need several years to save enough spirit stones. After looking at several shops, Wang Hao's favorite is a sword sold by a shop under the Xuanhuan sect. It is called the Red Gold Sword. It is 3 feet long and 3 inches wide. It is dark red all over. It has a very high appearance and is sold for only 30 spirit stones. To be honest, there is nothing amazing about this sword. The reason why Wang Hao likes it more is that it looks good, and the second is that the material used to refine this sword is red gold iron, which is a 1st-grade upper-grade material. Using top-grade materials to make a medium-grade sword obviously shows that the craftsmanship of the weapon refiner is not good enough, which means that this sword is a practice work, but the materials are real. The red gold sword is much stronger than the general 1st-level medium-grade magic weapon, and the 1st-level top-grade magic weapon can also be used. Although Wang Hao does not understand weapon refining, he has some understanding of refining materials. The price of the raw materials alone is more than 20 spirit stones. Adding the spirit carbon and manpower consumed in the refining process, 30 spirit stones can be said to be a conscience price, but he is not in a hurry. After finishing other things, if there is spare money, he will take this sword. In order not to cause trouble, Wang Hao found a shop selling clothes and bought a black suit and a long black veil hat to cover his face. He is not abrupt like this. Many casual cultivators in this market dress like this. Wang Hao found several shops doing spiritual rice business and sold spiritual rice in batches. After reclaiming the fourth piece of land, he has planted 3 more crops of spiritual rice. Now there is a total of 1,200 kilograms of spiritual rice. Each of his shops only sold more than 100 kilograms of spiritual grains. Such a small amount of spiritual grains was not too eye-catching. In the end, he sold a total of 110 spiritual stones. This is normal. The purchase price of the shop will always be lower. Now he has 220 spiritual stones. It is most cost-effective to exchange the money for cultivation resources. Although spiritual stones can also speed up the cultivation speed, the effect is far less than some spiritual pills that improve cultivation. It is not a good choice to directly use spiritual stones to improve cultivation, of course, except for high-quality spiritual stones. Chapter 8 Treatment of the Protagonist. When Wang Hao came to the square of the market, he found it very lively. In the past, only casual cultivators set up stalls here, and there were no good things. Wang Hao came here just to broaden his horizons. Of course, it would be okay to learn from Han Lao Mo to pick up a bargain. After asking, he learned that next year would be the day when Xuanhuan would sell foundation building pills. The families and some powerful casual cultivators wanted to sell more things to accumulate spiritual stones, which led to the grand occasion of so many people setting up stalls. If it were another year, the Qingyo market would be even more lively when the foundation building pills were sold. This time, the Qingyuan sect has announced that a total of 7 foundation building pills will be sold in Qingyo market, 5 of which will go to the 5 major families, and 2 will be auctioned. If any family cannot afford it, they will be auctioned together. Under the temptation of the foundation building pill, the things sold in the market now are not comparable to those sold at other times. For example, first-level spiritual medicines and first-level spiritual medicine seeds are usually available, but they are sold by some homeless cultivators. What about now? All the families have taken them out to sell. Wang Hao couldn't help but be ecstatic. Sure enough, the time traveler is the protagonist. He was given a pillow just when he was sleepy. Lingfu grass, the function is the same as the name, it can be used to make talisman paper. I asked about the price, 5 spirit stones for a small bag of seeds, about 20 or so. Buy it, just in time for Wang Hao to practice the talisman. Ling my seeds. After eating rice for a few months, Wang Hao also felt a little bored. Change the taste, buy it. Red blood ginseng, one of the main ingredients of the foundation building pill, is the most common medicinal material for the foundation building pill. Only when it grows to the second grade upper grade can it be used to refine the foundation building pill. The first grade ones are usually used to make wine or refine healing pills for the qi refining stage. Since I have come across it, I must buy it. But the price is really expensive. Wang Hao only got 3 seeds for 10 spirit stones. He also wanted to get it for free, but people only let him look and not let him get started, so there was no chance to get it for free. However, he touched a lot of less precious seeds, which made most of the first-grade seeds in the farm light up, which made Wang Hao very satisfied. Then, he found a fruit tree seedling on a stall. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. The spirit fruit can be eaten directly, which has the effect of improving cultivation. In fact, it is similar to pills. Depending on the variety, some effects are slightly worse than the gathering spirit pill, and some are far better than the gathering spirit pill. The stall owner was a male cultivator who looked to be in his early 40s. Seeing the Taoist robe with the logo, Wang Hao whispered, "Isn't this the Taoist robe of the Wang family? The old Wang wore this last time." The Wang family even sold fruit trees. This was a huge investment. According to the cultivation level and importance, the foundation building pills bought were also for Wang Yanzhao. Thinking of this, Wang Hao didn't know whether to be happy or worried. The happy thing was that Wang Yanzhao was his biological father. Even if the relationship was tense, he could still ask for help in the future when he encountered danger. His foundation building was beneficial to him. The worry was that once Wang Yanzhao built his foundation, he might be transferred out of the market, and he might find it difficult to meet him. Other people in the Wang family would not pay any attention to him. Oh, always thinking too much. Do I need to rely on others when my cultivation level is high? Wang Hao shook his head and took 2 steps forward. The monk setting up the stall greeted him warmly. Fellow Taoist, feel free to pick whatever you like. He pointed at the sapling and said, I have met my Taoist friend, and I will tell you the truth. I have taken a liking to this sapling. If I am not mistaken, this should be the golden apricot tree, a specialty of the Wang family, right? That the golden threaded apricot is a first-order high-grade spiritual fruit. It is also ranked among the first-order spiritual fruits. It is rare on the market. Wang Hao has never tasted golden apricots. Even Lao Wang estimates that it would take several years to get a single fruit. The Wang family only has a batch of golden apricots that mature every few years. The price in the market is as high as 30 spiritual stones. 1 pill is enough to fill a whole bottle of Juling pill. It is expensive and the effect is naturally great. It is said that its medicinal power is mild and mellow, and its medicinal power is somewhat stronger than the Huanglong pill taken in the later stages of qi training, and it has no erysipelas. Wang Hao doesn't need this thing now, but he can plant it and keep it first. When he reaches the later stage of qi training, he won't have to buy spiritual stones for elixirs. Moreover, this apricot sapling looks like it is only 2 or 3 years old. Even if it is planted on a farm, it will take a year and a half for it to bloom and bear fruit. Hearing that Wang Hao was interested in buying saplings, the monk from the Wang family showed joy and said, Taoist friends have good eyesight. This tree is indeed a golden apricot. Since fellow Taoists recognize it, they must also know its efficacy, so I won't introduce it further. Golden silk apricot sapling and 100 spirit stones, what do fellow Taoists think? Wang Hao chuckled lightly and said, My fellow Taoist, this business is not very kind. The golden silk apricot is precious, and I am supposed to be able to get a bargain with 100 spiritual stones. But the leaves of this sapling are dry and the plant is short. It looks like it will be eliminated at first glance. I'm afraid your husband Lingji of the Wang family would not sell the goods if he was confident enough to support them. Alas, the monk from the Wang family sighed, Fellow Taoist, you have a keen eye, but the price is fixed. If the family didn't need to buy the foundation establishment pill for your second uncle, it wouldn't be sold. I guarantee it with my personality, there is nothing wrong with the seedling itself, it will definitely survive. Wang Hao thought, Lao Wang is the second eldest brother. Although the monk is older than Lao Wang, the family hierarchy is not necessarily higher than Lao Wang. Forget it, just treat it as supporting Lao Wang. Section 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Well, I want this sapling. Here are the spirit stones. Wang Hao happily took out the spirit stones and took the sapling. There were not many spirit stones left in his hand, and he was not interested in shopping anymore, so he walked towards Wang's medicine shop. If you want to buy medicine, you must take care of Lao Wang's business. Wang Hao swaggered into Wang's shop, and someone immediately came forward to greet him warmly. Wang Hao knew this person. His name was Wang Wenqin, 1 generation lower than Lao Wang. If he went back to Wang's house, he would also add a character to his name. Dao Yu, are you buying elixirs, talismans, or selling things? Our store has everything from first-level elixirs to talismans. We purchase elixirs in large quantities, and we give preferential treatment for large quantities. Wang Hao wore a bamboo hat and said, regardless of whether he recognized him or not, give me 2 bottles of Juling Dan and 1 bottle of Huanya Dan. Juling Dan and Huanya Dan have the same effect, both of which are used to improve cultivation. The difference is that Juling Dan can be used by cultivators in the early and middle stages of qi training, while Huanya Dan is only suitable for cultivators in the middle stage. As for the efficacy, Huanya Dan is naturally slightly stronger. When he heard that he wanted 3 bottles of elixirs, Wang Wenqin smiled even more and said respectfully, a total of 100 spiritual stones. I will give you a discount and only charge you 95 spiritual stones. When you buy elixirs in the future, just come to my Wang store. I will never let you suffer a loss. Wang Hao took out the spiritual stones and handed them to Wang Wenxin. Wang Wenxin smiled so hard that his eyes were invisible. He handed the pill to Wang Hao and took out an iron token, saying, "Welcome to come again, fellow Taoist. Those who hold this token are our VIPs and can enjoy discounts." Wang Hao laughed in his heart, "You are quite good at talking. If you knew who I was, I'm afraid you would give me the discount." Wang Hao turned around and left the store. He didn't think about the red gold sword anymore. He only had a few spiritual stones left. If he didn't have a farm, he wouldn't be able to afford spiritual rice. Chapter 9 Trying to make pills. What Wang Hao didn't know was that everything he did in the store was seen by Wang Yanzhao on the second floor. "Second brother, are you relieved now?" A young man sitting on the other side of the table spoke up. This man is called Wang Yanfeng, with 3 spiritual roots and the 7th level of qi training. He is the 8th in the Wang family's Yan generation and is also an alchemist. However, his talent is much worse than Wang Yanzhao's. He can only refine first-level pills. After Wang Yanzhao's 9th level of qi training, his cultivation level could not be improved. He focused on refining pills and broke through to the 2nd-level lower-grade alchemist half a year ago. Wang Yanfeng came here to take over Wang Yanzhao's shop in the market, while Wang Yanzhao was preparing to return to the family residence to wait for the foundation building pill to build the foundation. Wang Yanzhao sighed slightly, "Hey, I hope he can hold on longer this time. 8th brother, I won't hide it from you. This kid has practiced in seclusion in the past, but he could only hold on for half a year at most." Wang Yanfeng smiled and said, "Second brother, you have also seen that nephew Hao is now at the 4th level of qi training. This time he came to buy pills. I think he has really learned it well. Besides, I am still here to take care of him, so don't worry, second brother." Wang Yanzhao nodded helplessly. He had no choice. He couldn't protect Wang Hao for his whole life. Wang Hao looked like he had learned well, but what Wang Yanfeng didn't know was that he only left Wang Hao 100 spirit stones. Now he bought all the pills. After eating them, he couldn't advance to the 5th level of qi training. When there was no pill to help him, Wang Hao could still endure the hardship of practicing with 5 spirit roots at a snail's pace. "Everything is up to me, my 8th brother. You don't have to look after him. Just don't let him cause any trouble or kill him. Second brother, you are too kind. After all, he is the blood of my Wang family. How can I, as his uncle, let anyone kill him?" After saying goodbye, Wang Yanzhao took another look at Wang Hao's back, and then left Qingyafang City with other family members. After Wang Hao advanced to the middle stage of qi training, his speed of refining pills increased a lot. These 3 bottles of pills were enough for him to practice for more than 5 months. However, he got a lot of seeds for free in the square this time, including one called white jade watermelon. This thing consumes a lot of land. It takes a year for a general first-level spiritual field to recover after planting one crop. Therefore, although it has the effect of improving cultivation, there are very few people who plant it. Because in terms of efficiency, it is indeed not as cost-effective as planting other spiritual herbs to refine pills. Wang Hao's farm is obviously not afraid of this. The planting period of white jade watermelon is not long, and it can be harvested in 1 year, but the medicinal effect is a bit poor. The medicinal effect of one watermelon is about 80% of that of Juling pill. Because it needs a lot of spiritual power to grow, a maximum of 20 plants can be planted per acre, and each plant can only produce 1 white jade watermelon. This benefit is still very low. The medicinal power is not as good as the Juling pill, and the price is not as good. Even with the blessing of taste, the income per acre is at most 50 spiritual stones. Planting spiritual rice can also earn 30 spiritual stones per acre per year, and there is no risk of soil exhaustion. You can imagine how to choose. But Wang Hao doesn't care. He wants to reduce external purchases as much as possible, reduce his sense of existence, and survive until the late stage of qi training. Although using white jade watermelon to assist in cultivation will be slower than Juling pill, it is no problem to advance to the 5th level of qi training in about a year. This cultivation speed is already very fast. It is not as fast as the Tianling route, but it is faster than some second spiritual routes without pills. Of course, under the same cultivation conditions, it is still not as fast as others. The talent is here, there is no way. Wang Hao quickly returned to the courtyard and planted the purchased spiritual plants and seeds in the vegetable garden. His few acres of land are also spiritual fields, and he is idle. As for the farm, seeds from outside cannot be brought in, so Wang Hao still has to buy them again in the mall. Well, this is in line with the nature of Penguin Games, so rip off. Clicking in, I saw that the price of the golden silk apricot seeds was 30 spirit stones, which was really unfair. However, this was a perennial spirit plant, planted once and harvested many times. According to the lifespan of a first-level spirit plant of up to 100 years, this golden silk apricot could survive for 10 years in Wang Hao's farm. The spirit apricot tree grew in 15 years, and then bloomed and bore fruit every 5 years, so he could harvest 17 times. Each of the Wang family's golden silk apricot trees produced only 5 or 6 fruits at a time. The farm should have reached its maximum output, which should be more, but I don't think it would exceed 10. After clicking to Sao, Wang Hao found that there were 3 seeds distributed in a triangle in that grid of land, which meant that 1 acre of land could grow 3 spirit apricot trees, which was enough for his cultivation in the late stage of qi training. So Wang Hao planted 1 acre of white jade watermelon on each of the remaining 3 plots of land, and chose the most economically efficient spirit grass for the other 2 plots to develop the remaining land. After arranging these trivial matters, Wang Hao practiced for another month. The effect of taking pills was much worse than when he was in the 3rd level of qi training. When he was in the 3rd level of qi training, he used the Juling pill to practice, and he could expand the Dantian capacity a little in less than 3 days, but now he needs 5 days, and the speed of refining pills has also become faster. In the past, it took 6 days to refine a Juling pill, but now it only takes 5 days. This caused Wang Hao's original calculations to be in vain. The amount of pills he needed to break through the 5th level increased greatly. Although the white jade watermelon was ripe, Wang Hao did not feel too happy, because he had already refined a white jade watermelon, and the effect was not satisfactory, so refining pills was imminent. The farm's spiritual stones could not be taken out, and the spiritual apricots would take more than a year to mature. Moreover, even if the spiritual apricots were ripe, wouldn't he need spiritual stones to buy other things? Magical instruments, spiritual talismans, and foundation-building pills. Selling a large amount of spiritual rice and spiritual medicines at once would easily arouse other suspicion and easily expose the secrets of the farm. It would be much better if he changed to selling pills. After all, spiritual rice and spiritual medicine are not easy to sell to casual cultivators, but pills are needed by everyone. He only needs to sell at a lower price than the store. Isn't it easy to earn some spiritual stones? Wang Hao did it as he said. He took out the jade slip left by Wang Yanzhao and checked it carefully. Wang Yanzhao gave him 3 first-level pill recipes, namely the entry-level pill Bigu pill, the first-level low-grade pill Juling pill, and the first-level medium-grade pill Xuanhuan pill. These 3 pill recipes are not precious and can be found in the market. Wang Yanzhao probably chose them because he thought these 3 pills are easy to refine. Even the first-level medium-grade Xuanhuan pill only needs 3 spiritual medicines. Alchemy can be roughly divided into 3 steps. The first is to refine the spiritual medicine into liquid medicine, the second is fusion, and the third is to condense the pill. The difficulty of the first and second steps will be greatly reduced if fewer spiritual medicines are required. The jade slips left by Wang Yanzhao not only contain the introduction of the recipe and refining method, but also his own experience in refining, which can be regarded as well-intentioned. There are also several kinds of Bigu pills, but Wang Hao only chose the simplest one for the beginner, and the only material is spiritual rice. After Wang Hao found that the white jade watermelon was not suitable for his practice, he no longer planted it. Now the land is planted with spiritual rice. 100 kilograms in 10 days, it can be used for refining pills, and it is still okay if it is used sparingly. Moreover, the benefits of the spiritual grass are good. He can open up the next piece of land in another month. With more land, raw materials are naturally not a problem. During the qi refining period, alchemists usually choose to use earth fire to make pills, but unfortunately there is no earth fire in the entire Qingyefang. If you want to use earth fire, you can only go to Xuanhuan, and the rent is not cheap. Wang Hao can only use spiritual carbon instead. Chapter 10, The fasting pill is made. Wang Hao sat down on the cushion, first condensed his qi and calmed his mind, and then pinched his hands to ignite the spiritual carbon. The spiritual carbon immediately shone brightly, and a finger-thick red flame jumped up. This was obviously not enough for alchemy. Wang Hao took out 5 more pieces of spiritual carbon and put them in, so 6 red flames finally condensed together at the bottom of the pill furnace. It has been said before that the process of alchemy is not complicated, but there are not many people who can really make pills. After all, the successful refining of pills requires the ability of the alchemist in material preparation, temperature control, and furnace time. Among them, the temperature control screens out most of the cultivators except for the fire spirit root. Of course, it does not exclude some extraordinary talents. Learning to make pills requires a lot of spirit stones, and only wealthy cultivators can afford the spirit stones spent on learning to make pills. The Wang family, which is so big, enjoys 1/5 of the income of Qingyefang, but has only trained 4 alchemists. Putting aside distractions, Wang Hao continued to make pills. The first step was to wash the spirit rice and then peel it one by one. This is very simple. The second step is to put the peeled spirit rice into the pot, the alchemy furnace, and slowly extract the essence from it with a low fire. This step is not difficult. Then Wang Hao found that the pot was burnt. It's the first time. I'm not skilled, it's normal, Wang Hao comforted himself. After reducing the amount of spiritual carbon and lowering the heat, Wang Hao continued, and then it got burnt again. It's really challenging. After lowering the heat again, Wang Hao put the processed spiritual rice into the alchemy furnace again. This time, there was no burnt smell. Wang Hao's face lit up, and he pinched his fingers with one hand, pointed at the alchemy furnace, and the lid flew up and closed steadily. Although there was a lid blocking it, the spiritual consciousness of the immortal cultivator was not blocked, and Wang Hao could still observe the situation inside. He saw that the spiritual rice gradually melted under the high-temperature baking, forming a sticky white juice. As time passed, the water in the juice slowly evaporated, and the remaining was the essence. A faint fragrance floated out of the alchemy furnace. This first stage is complete. According to Lao Wang's notes, the next step is to increase the heat and rotate the essence into groups to evaporate the remaining water and turn it into a pill. Wang Hao's technique changed, and the flames on the spiritual carbon suddenly more than doubled in size, and the billowing flames flooded the alchemy furnace. As time goes by, the aroma becomes stronger and stronger. Wang Hao feels that he is not far from success. As a result, a quarter of an hour later, the alchemy furnace shook violently, a muffled sound was heard, and then thick yellow smoke rose. Is this a furnace explosion? Wang Hao was speechless for a moment, then he brought the alchemy furnace in front of him and observed it carefully. He saw that the entire alchemy furnace was in a mess, with a lot of dark brown stickiness sticking around it and exuding a smell. Burnt taste. Wang Hao sighed. Is it so difficult? He shook his head and began to carefully recall the steps of alchemy. They were all strictly according to what Lao Wang recorded. However, Lao Wang only said what the state should be like. It's an abstraction. Wang Hao thought to himself, it would be great if there were specific data. How many degrees and how long would it take to refine the elixir in minutes? There is no way. These immortal cultivators obviously do not have this concept. The experience of the predecessors is only used as a reference. Whether it can be done depends entirely on the operator's understanding. Wang Hao obviously doesn't think he is a genius, so he should practice more. continue to cleanse the spiritual rice and control the heat to condense the essence. There was no explosion this time, but the temperature was still high. When Wang Hao opened the alchemy furnace, he saw nothing but darkness. The fifth time, due to insufficient temperature, there was no elixir, and there were only 3 soft yellow mud-like objects. The sixth time, the elixir was finally made, but the heat was too much and the elixir smelled so burnt that it was impossible to eat it. Wang Hao sighed and wiped the sweat from his forehead. Let's stop here today. Although we haven't succeeded, we are not far away. At this moment, his mana was exhausted and it was impossible to continue. However, Wang Hao still accumulated a lot of experience during this afternoon's practice. For example, the condensing liquid medicine in the first step is already very familiar. Since Bigu Dan has only one ingredient, the mixing liquid medicine in the second step is omitted. He has roughly mastered the required fire temperature range after 4 failures in the step of making the pill. He can't guarantee that he will make the pill next time, but if he is given 3 or 4 more times, he will definitely succeed. Wang Hao was not depressed. Just like the starship failed dozens of times, he would always say, "At least we got the data." Wang Hao dragged his tired body to eat in a hurry, and then fell into a deep sleep. Since he came to this world, he has been practicing hard and resting for 2 or 3 hours at most every day, and this time, he slept for a full night. During this period, he also had a dream, in which he dreamed that he had successfully built the foundation and had mastered alchemy. There was a long line of people at the door asking him to make alchemy. On the second day, Wang Hao did not continue to try to make alchemy. Firstly, he had not fully digested yesterday's harvest. He still needed to review it a few times to get some useful data so that he could use it the next time he made alchemy. Secondly, he wanted to improve his cultivation. It is still his main goal and cannot be reversed. The third is that he consumed a lot of spiritual rice yesterday and still needs to leave some for consumption. The alchemy must wait for at least 10 days for the new batch of spiritual rice to mature. Section 6. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Just like that, another 10 days of boring practice life passed. On this day, Wang Hao finished his meditation. He got up and observed the farm first. He found that the golden apricots had become 3 seedlings, and the spiritual rice next to them was in a mature state. After clicking harvest, Wang Hao tried to make alchemy for the second time. During these 10 days, Wang Hao also took some time to recall his alchemy experience several times and viewed the recorded videos on his computer. Combined with Lao Wang's notes and experience, he benefited a lot. This time, he was very confident of refining the Bigu pill. After gathering his energy and meditating, Wang Hao sat cross-legged in front of the alchemy furnace, took a breath of turbid air, and began to refine the elixir. Use your hands to ignite the spiritual carbon, preheat the alchemy furnace, then clean the spiritual rice, peel it off and remove impurities, and start refining it. From time to time, the mana output is reduced or increased to control the heat. For a moment, the aroma of the spiritual rice comes out. At this time, the essence of the spiritual rice has been extracted. Wang Hao did this step proficiently last time, and after reviewing it several times, this step was considered easy. The key lies in the next condensation pill. Wang Hao smelled the strong aroma and did not dare to be careless. His expression was very solemn. While activating the flame to increase the temperature in the elixir furnace, he also controlled the liquid medicine to pile up and rotate. This rotation is the key to forming the elixir, otherwise it will only become a pile of mud. Although it still has medicinal properties, is not easy to preserve. Half a quarter of an hour later, there was a bang and a burning smell floated out of the alchemy furnace. Failed again. However, Wang Hao was not discouraged, he just chuckled and continued to make alchemy. 2 hours later, Wang Hao finished the 4th furnace of elixirs. This was the critical moment for the 5th furnace. Wang Hao's face was pale, obviously due to excessive consumption of mana, but his eyes were firm and he was still staring at the alchemy furnace. He didn't believe it. Old Demon Han could refine it, why couldn't he, Wang Hao? Half a quarter of an hour later, Wang Hao withdrew his spell, and the flames surrounding the alchemy furnace suddenly dissipated and disappeared. with a flick of his wrist, the cauldron lid flew up and landed firmly on the side. Wang Hao hurriedly stood up and came to the alchemy furnace. He saw 2 yellow pills the size of peach stones lying quietly in the alchemy furnace. They were bigu pills. Chapter 11 Wang Yanfeng. Labor and management know that it is possible. The data can be obtained. After getting familiar with it a few times, it will be stable. As for the rate of elixir formation, it can only be improved slowly. Wang Hao picked up a yellow elixir, sniffed it for a few times, and found that there was no peculiar smell. He put it in his mouth. As soon as the elixir was in his mouth, it immediately turned into a stream of fluid and flowed into his abdomen. The next moment, a warm feeling spread throughout the body, and a slight feeling of fullness appeared in the stomach. This small pill is enough energy for a monk to need for a day. It stands to reason that this furnace can produce 10 pills, but this is Wang Hao's first success, and the success rate is only 20%. There are 10 bigu pills in a bottle, and the price is usually 3 spirit stones. His rate of pill production is obviously lost, because it takes 10 kilograms of spirit rice to refine it once. Wang Hao first meditated for 2 hours to recover his magic power, and then refined 2 furnaces of elixirs, making 3 and 2 elixirs respectively. 10 days later, the spiritual rice matured again, and Wang Hao started refining elixirs again. He succeeded 9 times out of 10, and got 5 elixirs in the last 2 times. At this moment, he no longer lost money refining elixirs. Of course, if you include the consumption of spiritual carbon, he didn't make much. If he wanted to make money from the bigu pill, he would have to have at least 60% of the pill. After tidying up, Wang Hao bottled the bigu pills, and obtained a total of 4 bottles of bigu pills after refining the pills twice. If he didn't want to eat these, he might as well take them out and sell them, and let others check the quality. Because he was going out, Wang Hao took part of the white jade watermelon and spirit talisman grass with him. He had little effect on refining these things, so it was a good deal to sell them and exchange them for spirit-gathering pills. Picking up the bamboo hat, Wang Hao went out and walked straight towards the Wang family pill shop. The goods he sold this time were not many, so there was no need to cover it up. Entering the store, I found that Wang Wenxin was still on duty, so he asked straight to the point, "Do you collect spiritual fruits and elixirs?" Wang Wenxin looked up and recognized Wang Hao as the person who purchased the elixir last time. He was about to receive the guests when a cough suddenly came from behind, and Wang Yanfeng walked up. "Wenxin, go and receive the guests over there. I'm here to receive this fellow Taoist." Although Wang Wenxin was suspicious, Wang Yanfeng was his 8th uncle, so he walked away without asking any more questions. Wang Yanfeng said, "This fellow Taoist has a private room upstairs. You might as well talk about it." Wang Hao had never met Wang Yanfeng and didn't know what he was up to, but in this city, he thought his safety was guaranteed, so he replied, "It's okay. Please." After going upstairs, before Wang Hao could sit down, Wang Yanfeng snorted, "You come from the pill shop and you are still secretive. What do you want to do?" Seeing Wang Hao looking at him questioningly, he added, "I am your 8th uncle Wang Yanfeng, and I am also an alchemist. I grew up with your father." "Oh, it turns out to be the 8th uncle. How did you recognize my nephew?" Wang Hao was relieved when he saw that he was one of his own. The uncle who grew up with Lao Wang would not do anything to harm him even if he didn't like him. "Matter. Sit down and talk first." Wang Yanfeng knocked on the table. "I recognized you from the last time you came here. Who can stop you with your shabby bamboo hat? I have visited your place several times, but I have never seen you before. You stayed behind closed doors, thinking you were in seclusion, so you didn't go in." Wang Hao chuckled. "After what happened last time, my nephew felt ashamed to see others, so he bought this bamboo hat, which made my 8th uncle laugh. This hat of yours can only protect you from ordinary people. When we meet for the first time, and your father entrusts you to take care of you, I will give you a gift." He took out a black hat from the storage bag. "This is I bought it in the early years, and it's not very useful, but it can still block the spiritual detection of monks under the foundation. I'll give it to you." Wang Hao was also thinking about developing a magic that could help him disguise himself, and Wang Yanfeng's gift would be useful. Thank you, 8th uncle, my nephew is ashamed of himself. Your kid's understanding of etiquette is different from what your father described. He pointed at Wang Hao with a smile and said, I don't know why you are so angry with my second brother. Every time I talk about you, you always sigh. Wang Hao stroked his forehead awkwardly, thinking that he couldn't blame me, it was all the fault of the original owner. Said, people always have to grow up. Now I am 18, considered an adult. My mother has passed away many years ago. I must live a good life. That's all you can think about. If my second brother knew about it, he would definitely be very happy. Without further ado, let's talk about the purpose of your visit this time. Wang Yanfeng asked, changing the subject. Wang Hao did not hesitate and took out big pill and 15 white jade watermelons. A few days ago, a friend sold this white jade watermelon to his nephew. Unfortunately, after refining it, his nephew found that the effect was very poor, so he thought change it to the spirit gathering pill. This pill was made by my nephew, please give me some advice. You can actually make elixirs. Wang Yanfeng had a look of surprise on his face. He ignored the white jade watermelon and took the big pill, took out one pill, sniffed it and swallowed it directly. Well, the quality is pretty good. That's right. You are the second brother's son. What's so surprising about being able to refine elixirs? Wang Hao is not happy to say this. He worked hard to refine this big pill, and it has a hammer relationship with Lao Wan. Well, it really does. The prescription and notes were given by Lao Wan, but we have to distinguish priorities. What's so strange about his son refining elixirs? Wang Yanfeng looked at the white jade watermelon again and said, this white jade watermelon has grown very well and is considered top grade, but it is really not suitable for mid-stage qi training. Let me make the decision. I will give you 15 spirit gathering pills in exchange for the watermelon and pills. Are you satisfied? These watermelons can be sold in other stores for up to 30 spiritual stones, a bottle of Bigu Dansan spirit stone, but obviously the purchase price of the store will not be that high, so this 8th uncle gave him more. Then thank Uncle 8, Wang Hao was not an ungrateful person and hurriedly thanked him. Well, if you can concentrate on your cultivation and stop making your father angry, your 8th uncle will be able to take care of you. The two exchanged some pleasantries before Wang Hao took the elixir and left the store. Then, Wang Hao found an alley to hide, took out the bamboo hat given by Wang Yanfeng, replaced his own, and walked around to the Danfu pavilion of Xuanhuan Gate. He sold 20 kilograms of magical talisman grass in exchange for 80 spiritual stones. He went to the weapons pavilion of Xuanhuan Gate again and bought the red gold sword that he had longed for. He always has to go out to practice, so he can't blame himself for the magic weapon he has in hand. Although he had collected all the spiritual herbs needed for the first level elixir, he still lacked several important auxiliary drugs, as well as the main drug of the foundation building elixir. Ningyuan Gua, which must be obtained as soon as possible. The Ningyuan fruit tree is a second-level high-grade spiritual plant. It takes 100 years to grow, and then blooms and bears fruit every 50 years. This adds up to 150 years, and the growth time on the farm is also 15 years. If Wang Hao waits until he practices qi, if we look for it later, I'm afraid I won't be able to mature before the age of 60. Most of the Ningyuan fruit trees are monopolized by big forces, and it is unrealistic to target them. However, the South China Sea has not been developed for a long time. Even in Duanyuan Mountain, there are many places that humans have not touched, and there are probably no remnants. It is said that the Qingyuan sect's Ningyuan fruit tree was obtained from Duanyuan Mountain, and then relying on this tree, the Qingyuan sect continued to grow stronger, and eventually became the overlord of this place. Chapter 12 Setting up a stall. Spring has passed and autumn has come, and a year has passed in the blink of an eye. In this year, Wang Hao has improved a lot in his cultivation. He is not far from the 5th level of qi training. Logically speaking, he should continue to retreat and try to break through, but the foundation establishment pill the day of the auction was coming, and the market was a lot more lively. Wang Hao decided to go out and join in the fun. Maybe he could gather some elixirs for refining the foundation establishment pill. In addition, the auction will not only auction foundation building pills, but also many good things. He also needs to exchange some spiritual stones in advance to prepare. In this year, he has not made any progress in making talismans. The reason is that he has no experience in using brushes in his previous life. Copying at the first level will waste a lot of time. What Wang Hao lacks most is time, so he can only temporarily give up. If your cultivation has stagnated in the later stages of Qi training, you can practice talisman and seal script while searching for the elixir needed for the foundation establishment pill. Making talismans was not enough, but Wang Hao's alchemy skills had made great progress. After the success rate of the Bigu pill reached 60%, he began to try to refine the spirit gathering pill. After dozens of failures, he finally succeeded. Now he no longer needs external help. He purchased elixirs for practice, and relied on the output of the farm to refine the spirit-gathering pills, which were enough for him, and there was still a lot left over. During this period, he also accumulated more than 30 bottles of spirit-gathering pills, which could be exchanged for nearly 1,000 spirit stones. The farm now has 9 plots of land, 1 is occupied by golden apricots, 3 plots are planted with medicinal materials for gathering spirit pills, and the remaining 5 plots are all planted with magic grass, except for occasionally growing spiritual rice for their own consumption. The characteristics of constantly reclaiming space: the price of reclaimed land is constantly rising. The 10th piece of land costs 1,075 spiritual stones. He has already figured out the pattern. It involves an arithmetic sequence. The price of reclaimed land for the nth piece of land is equal to the price of the previous piece of land plus 25. N2, and after the 6th piece of land is developed, the red land can be upgraded. The first piece requires 500 spirit stones, and the second piece requires 700, he has upgraded one piece, and the effect is also great. It can plant second-level crops, and the maturity time will be accelerated. Wang Hao planted spiritual rice for a test, and concluded that it is twice as fast as ordinary land, which is the real-time flow rate. 20 times. This made Wang Hao change his mind. As long as the price of reclaiming new land is higher than upgrading red land, it is far less cost-effective than upgrading red land. Unfortunately, he was busy practicing alchemy before and didn't pay attention. He wasted a lot of spiritual stones in vain. Otherwise, he would have 3 pieces of red land now. After checking his belongings, Wang Hao went out. The foundation building pill auction held every 20 years had a great influence on Qingyafang. Just 1 month before the auction, the people of Qingyafang traffic has increased dramatically, with the permanent population continuing to increase from more than 10,000 to nearly 50,000. These people are not here for the foundation establishment pill, but they want to take advantage of the large number of people so that they can sell the goods in their hands. Wang Hao first came to the Wang family alchemy shop, went directly to Wang Yanfeng, and sold him 10 bottles of spirit-gathering pills. It was hard to say how many more bottles he had. His identity as a first-level mid-level alchemist was nothing, but where did the elixir come from? It's hard to explain. Wang Yanfeng was very encouraging. However, Wang Haolai did not come here to receive education. He wanted to follow Wang Yanfeng to the auction, so he thought carefully and said, "Uncle Eighth, have you decided who will participate in the auction?" "Huh? You want to go to the auction?" Wang Yanfeng shook his head slightly and scolded with a smile, "I asked you why you came to see Uncle Eighth today. It really is for a purpose. It's your Uncle Eighth who co-authored it. I'm just being sentimental." Wang Hao hurriedly apologized, "How could you not, Eighth Uncle, don't you know me? Now I am only thinking about cultivation. I haven't left home this year. I came to you as soon as I came out of seclusion. As for the auction, my nephew just wants to learn more." Wang Yanfeng smiled and nodded slightly, "That's true. Your father told me to keep an eye on you earlier. It's a good thing you didn't even go out, which saved your 8th uncle a lot of trouble." "Well, it just so happened that I did too. If you want to participate in the auction on behalf of the Wang family store, just stay with me. The auction will start in 5 days. Don't go out that day. I will call you then. Then I'd like to thank Uncle Eighth. Wang Hao bowed his hand and said, Uncle Eighth, the market is busy now, and my nephew wants to buy some elixirs. Wang Hao was interrupted before he could finish his words. Okay, you kid has been holding it in for more than a year. Is this an old habit? Go shopping. You seem to have a calm temper. Just don't cause trouble. I will not cause any trouble to Uncle Eight. Wang Hao apologized and left the shop. A quarter of an hour later, we arrived at a huge square filled with small stalls. There is no rent for setting up a stall in the square, but it is already full at this time, and it is difficult for Wang Hao to find an empty seat. Section 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There are a wide variety of products on each stall, including many strange and weird things. However, most of them are first-level spiritual rice, first-level weapon refining materials, first-level elixirs, first-level talisman and first-level spiritual herbs. There are not many good things, and they are very miscellaneous. It is very troublesome to find them one by one. Since if you are looking for trouble yourself, then let someone come over. Wang Hao only observed it for a while and then took a rough look at the transactions among the casual cultivators. It was no different from the vegetable market in his previous life, except that the currency was exchanged for spiritual stones, but the key point is to buy it and leave it. If you miss it, you'll be lucky. If you lose, don't cause trouble. After shopping around, he couldn't find any vacant seats, so Wang Hao had no choice but to give 2 spiritual stones to a casual cultivator and buy his seat. He took out the sign written in advance and placed it in front of him. It read, Spirit Gathering Pill, in exchange for purchasing various first and second level elixir seeds or live plants. As soon as the stall was set up, there was an endless stream of people asking for the price. Wang Hao initially sold a few bottles of the Spirit Gathering Pill cheaply, but later found out that these people only wanted to buy the spirit stones and did not cherish the seeds, so he changed the conditions, just exchange, not sell. The number of people surrounding Wang Hao's stall suddenly decreased. A few people complained about not taking advantage of it. However, the law enforcement officers from Fang City were watching from the edge of the square. They did not dare to do anything and could only curse in a low voice. After a few words, he shook his head and left. What's the price of this spirit gathering pill, fellow Taoist? A soft female voice sounded, which made people feel comfortable. Wang Hao looked up and found in front of him a young woman of 17 or 18 years old. Wearing a yellow skirt, her skin is as white as snow, her face is like a peach blossom, and her eyes are like a pool of clear water. This was the first time Wang Hao saw such a beautiful woman since he came to this world, and he was stunned for a moment. Fellow Taoist, do you want to sell this elixir? The woman's expression tightened as Wang Hao stared at her, and her tone became cold. Wang Hao came back to his senses and hurriedly calmed down his expression. He was not the original Wang Hao. He could not make such a mistake. Women would only affect the speed of cultivation. Oh, of course they are for sale, but the price is not cheaper than in the store. If the girl has rare elixir seeds or live plants, it will be more cost-effective to exchange them. Then how can I exchange it? It depends on what kind of seeds the girl can bring out. If they are ordinary goods, there is no need to do so. Only the more precious ones can be exchanged, such as the elixir seeds related to the Foundation Establishment pill. If the girl can bring out the seeds, she can exchange them for the pills according to their value. It's rare that you can buy it at a higher price. Wang Hao introduced Chapter 13 Auction. The girl in the yellow dress thought for a moment after hearing this, then took out a jade box, opened it and handed it to Wang Hao. Inside was a 20-year-old red ginseng. 20-year-old red ginseng is still a first-class elixir, and it is not what I need. Wang Hao already has this stuff. He only needs to plant it on the red soil, and he will be able to harvest a 100-year-old ginseng in the next 5 or 6 years. Red-blooded ginseng, a 100-year-old red-blooded ginseng, is already a second-level elixir. However, to refine the foundation building pill, you need second-level high-quality red-blooded ginseng, which is at least 200 years old. Wang Hao needs to cultivate it for 10 years. The girl in the yellow skirt frowned when she heard this, and took out a jade box. After opening it, it contained a snow-white lotus, exuding a chill. White snow lotus. Wang Hao's eyes lit up. This white snow lotus was just an auxiliary medicine in the Foundation establishment pill, and it was exactly what he lacked. Snow lotus has the effect of calming the mind. The main medicines of the Foundation establishment pill are powerful and violent, so some auxiliary medicines are needed to eliminate these negative effects. Snow lotus is to stabilize the monk's mind and avoid going crazy. Wang Hao took out 2 bottles of spirit gathering pills and said, "My 2 bottles of spirit gathering pills are worth 60 spirit stones, which is more than enough to exchange for your white snow lotus that is less than 30 years old." But the woman shook her head. "It's okay to exchange by Xuanhuan for 2 bottles of elixirs, but you just said that you will buy them at a higher price depending on whether the elixir is rare or not. Is this white snow lotus rare? What you don't have is naturally considered rare." You are beautiful, you have the final say," Wang Hao slandered, and took out half a bottle of spirit gathering pill before completing the deal with the girl in the yellow dress. When the time came in the afternoon, Wang Hao looked at the darkening sky, closed the stall and left. This afternoon, he collected several unlit seeds from the farm, the most important of which was snow lotus, an important auxiliary of the Foundation establishment pill. It was considered a huge harvest. There were 4 bottles of the spirit gathering pill left, and together with the one sold to Wang Yanfeng, he got a total of 500 spirit stones. These people dare to go to the auction and buy some good things. 5 days passed by in a flash. Wang Yanfeng sent someone to call Wang Hao as promised, and the 2 of them then came to Xuanhuan Pavilion, where the auction house was located. "Eighth uncle, why did the family send you alone to participate in the auction?" Wang Hao asked in confusion. "Hey, for the Foundation establishment pill, the family has already drained the family's wealth. How can there be spiritual stones to buy other things? The 8th uncle came here this time just to buy a few bottles of second-level pills on his behalf," Wang Yanfeng said helplessly. "It's not just my Wang family. The other 3 families probably won't have too many people coming. Only the Qing family didn't buy the Foundation establishment pill this year. I'm afraid they are eyeing other treasures." He glanced at Wang Hao and asked, "What do you want to buy?" Wang Hao was just here for a long experience. He had a total of several hundred spirit stones on him. It was okay to buy first-level items, but second-level and above items were not enough, so he shook his head. "There is nothing needed, but my alchemy furnace is somewhat damaged. If it is suitable, I hope to buy a top-grade alchemy furnace." "A first-grade, top-grade alchemy furnace? Why are you coming to an auction? You should be able to find one at the Xuanhuan Gate shop, but it's not cheap. Don't even think about it if you don't have 200 spirit stones. If you can't buy a suitable one this time, Uncle Ba will accompany you to the Xuanhuan Gate shop later. A first-grade, top-grade one costs 200 spirit stones. Wouldn't a second-grade one be even more expensive?" Wang Yanfeng snorted. "What do you think? The family's second-grade, mid-grade alchemy furnace cost nearly 1,000 spirit stones to buy. And a second-grade alchemy furnace is not something you can buy just because you have money. If you don't have connections, you can only try your luck at the auction." As they talked, they came to the second floor of Xuanhuan Pavilion. Not everyone can participate in this auction. Only casual cultivators in the late stage of Qi training and the 5 major families can participate. This is why Wang Hao must rely on Wang Yanfeng. The entire layout of the auction was nothing special. It was shaped like a bowl, with hundreds of people sitting around it. There were also private rooms on the 3rd floor, but only Foundation building cultivators could go up there. This time, the Wang family only sent Wang Yanfeng, so he just sat down in the hall. In the center of the lobby, there was a round wooden platform with a strip of table on it. Before the auction started, Wang Yanfeng was chatting with a familiar cultivator. Wang Hao closed his eyes to rest. Almost everyone here had a higher cultivation level than him. If he didn't know them, there was nothing to say. There were some family members who knew him, but unfortunately, his reputation and status were not good, so no one wanted to pay attention to him. Half a quarter of an hour later, a crisp gong sounded in the building. The originally noisy venue soon quieted down, and everyone looked towards the round platform. A slightly fat middle-aged male cultivator appeared on the round platform. The man was still natural and free and easy under the gaze of hundreds of people. It was obviously not the first time he had experienced such a scene. Dear Taoist friends, I am Zheng Tong from Xuanhuan sect. I am honored to host this auction. On behalf of Xuanhuan sect, I welcome all Taoist friends to participate in this auction. The rules of this auction are the same as those of other places. The highest bidder wins. If you don't have enough spiritual stones, you can use treasures as collateral, or you can auction on the spot, Zheng Tong said slowly. His voice was not loud, but it could be clearly heard by everyone. Wang Hao looked at the stage in confusion and thought to himself, is there any magic weapon or formation like a loudspeaker? Let's start quickly, what are you talking about? That's right, everyone is waiting for the foundation building pill. That there was a burst of laughter in the crowd. Silence, a loud shout came, which made Wang Hao's eardrums hurt. A cultivator from Xuanhuan sect appeared on the stage. The pressure emanating from his body was obviously that of a foundation building cultivator. The man stared coldly at the crowd that had just laughed, and said coldly, if you think I'm being long-winded, you can leave. If you want to participate in the auction, you should be honest with me. That the crowd was silent, and no one wanted to offend. Seeing this, the foundation building cultivator left with satisfaction. Zheng Tong coughed lightly, let's not talk too much nonsense, and now the auction of the first auction item will begin. He took out a storage bag from his arms and took out a 3-foot-long first-grade top-grade sword from it. First-grade top-grade Luyuan sword, produced by the Qingyun sect's internal refiner. The base price is 60 spirit stones, and each increase in price is not less than 10. 60. 70. I'll bid 80 spirit stones. The first item was a first-grade top-grade magic weapon, and the atmosphere suddenly became lively. After the price rose several times, it was finally bought by a casual cultivator of the 8th level of Qi training at a price of 120 spirit stones. Zheng Tong smiled with satisfaction and continued to take out a first-level green bamboo that was 2 feet long and as thick as a pen holder from his storage bag. Second-level low-grade green thunder bamboo is an excellent material for refining talisman pens. Of course, it is also good for refining other magic tools. The starting price is 100 spirit stones, and each increase in price is not less than 10 spirit stones. Second-level materials are considered precious in the first level of Qingyafang City. The number of bidders suddenly increased, and it was not until 210 spirit stones that it was taken. After that, Zheng Tong took out second-level low-grade materials, spiritual medicines, and even spiritual tools in succession, and they were all sold at a high price. Even if Wang Hao had a farm, he was secretly annoyed when he heard it. Seeing that Wang Hao was in a bad state, Wang Yanfeng thought that it was because there was no alchemy furnace auction, so he comforted him. First-level magic tools are usually sold in Xuanhuan Pavilion. It is not normal to see them at the auction. After the auction, Uncle Ba will accompany you to buy one. Wang Hao nodded silently. Chapter 14, Gathering Spirit Array. Zheng Tong took out another black array plate. A first-grade upper-grade gathering spirit array can be driven by only 10 lower-grade spirit stones. The efficiency of Qi training cultivators can be increased by 50%. The starting price is 150 spirit stones, and each bid is not less than 10 spirit stones. Gathering Spirit Array. Wang Hao's eyes lit up. His current cultivation speed is still not fast enough. It takes nearly 50 years to cultivate to the perfection of Qi training. If he can have this Gathering Spirit Array, he can save nearly 10 years. Why? You want it? Wang Yanfeng's voice sounded in his ears. The Gathering Spirit Array is good, but it needs spirit stones to drive it. It can only be driven for a few days after changing it once. It is not something that cultivators from small families like us can afford, that even if the spirit stone is replaced every 10 days, it is equivalent to consuming 1 spirit stone a day. which is 365 a year. Ordinary cultivators really can't afford it, but Wang Hao thinks he can. However, he must get the monthly sale of a bottle of gathering spirit pill. Uncle Ba, please help me take a picture. You also know my nephew's qualifications. If this formation helps, he will have the possibility of advancing to the late stage of Qi training. How many spirit stones do you have? Wang Hao held up 3 fingers. Wang Yanfeng was surprised and said, "Oh, your wealth is not much worse than mine." "Well, I will help you once. If it is not enough, Uncle Ba will help you make up for it, but you have to help pay it back with the gathering spirit pill." That while the two were talking, 7 or 8 people were bidding, and the price doubled to 200 spirit stones. Wang Yanfeng glanced at the anxious Wang Hao, and then started bidding. 204. He raised 40 spirit stones at once, but unfortunately it did not scare the other bidders. 250. I'll bid 260, that the number of bidders did not decrease until the 300 mark. 320, Wang Yanfeng continued to bid. Section 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 330, a young man in a brown Taoist robe stood up and asked fellow Taoists to give face to my Zhao family. A casual cultivator directly said, the highest bidder wins at the auction, why should we talk about face at this time? 304. There are also rich people among casual cultivators. Wang Yanfeng frowned and glanced at Wang Hao, who signaled to continue bidding. 350. The Zhao family withdrew from the competition, and the casual cultivator continued to bid. 360. 370. Wang Yanfeng said lightly, and the casual cultivator hesitated for a moment and finally gave up. Jingtong's eyes were smiling, and it was obvious that this price was far more than the value of the gathering spirit array. No one raised the price, but he continued to add fuel to the fire. 370 spirit stones, this is a gathering spirit array, is there anyone who wants to bid? 307 once, 307 twice, deal. The gathering spirit array belongs to this Taoist friend. Wang Yanzhao stepped forward to hand over the spirit stones and receive the gathering spirit array. After the dust settled, Wang Hao let out a heavy breath and collapsed on the chair. He only had 500 spiritual stones in his hand, and most of it was gone at once. However, it could speed up cultivation, which was worth the money. At this time, Jingtong took out 3 jade bottles, 3 bottles of qi condensation pills, which can be taken in the early and middle stages of the foundation building period. Each bottle costs 200 spiritual stones, and each increase in price is not less than 30 spiritual stones. These were auction items provided by the Wang family, and they were finally sold at prices of 300, 330, and 300 respectively. Then there were also sets of attack magic weapons, defense magic weapons, second-level spiritual weapons, spiritual beasts, etc., but Wang Hao was no longer interested. He couldn't use them and couldn't afford them, so why bother about them? Half an hour later, it finally came to the finale. Jingtong cleared his throat, his voice rising a few degrees. There are 3 foundation building pills in total this time, auctioned separately. The starting price is 30,000 spirit stones, and each bid is no less than 500. 30,000. 31,000. 32,000. The scene instantly became white-hot, but most of the bidders were foundation building cultivators upstairs, and it was unknown whether they were family cultivators or independent cultivators. After a competition, the first foundation building pill was finally sold for 53,000 spirit stones, but what surprised Wang Hao was that Jingtong did not start the auction of the second foundation building pill, but took a storage bag from a maid. This senior is not good at spirit stones, so he plans to auction something. 2 second-level low-grade demon pills, 1 fire attribute and 1 wood attribute, auctioned separately. The starting price is 500 spirit stones. Second-level demon beasts can already condense demon pills, and can refine pills or tools, but not every demon beast has them. Only about 20% of second-level demon beasts have demon pills, and only when they reach the 3rd level will 100% have demon pills. After bidding, the prices were 800 and 900 respectively. Jingtong took out another white egg the size of a goose egg, with faint blue stripes on it. It's an unknown monster egg, most likely a second-level monster egg, with 80% vitality, and a high probability of hatching. If you buy it back and it hatches successfully, it's best to use it as a mountain guardian monster. The starting price is 100 spirit stones. Jing Tong's description made many people frown. One person asked, "This is unknown and 80% vitality. If it can't hatch, or if it hatches into a first-level monster, wouldn't it be a big loss?" That's right, 100 spirit stones is too black. Quiet, if you think it's a loss, don't buy it. If you disrupt the venue again, I will make him pay. The foundation building cultivator spoke again to maintain order. The crowd was silent. No one's spirit stones were blown by the wind, and no one was going to gamble on this. Wang Hao was tempted, he knew too well how much help a good spirit beast could provide to a cultivator. The sleeping king's soul-crying beast cultivated by Han Lao Mo saved the old demon's life several times, although it was asleep most of the time. Seeing no one paying attention, Wang Hao tried to bid 100 spirit stones. This made Wang Yanfeng on the side anxious. In order to help Wang Hao take down the spirit gathering array, the spirit stones in his pocket were already empty, and Wang Hao's 300 spirit stones had not been given to him. If he used up all the spirit beast egg flowers, wouldn't he have no money to replace him? Remembering Wang Yanzhao's request to him not to lend spirit stones to Wang Hao, he suddenly shuddered and looked at Wang Hao with an unfriendly expression. "You have been pretending to be honest for almost 2 years, not to cheat your 8th uncle today, right?" "8th uncle, you think too much." Wang Hao's head was sweating 3 times, and he quickly explained, "My nephew still has 4 bottles of spirit-gathering pills in his hand, which is enough to repay the 8th uncle." 101. Seeing Wang Hao's bid, others also tried to shout it out. 102. Wang Hao added 10 more, his voice was not urgent, as if it was dispensable. The man thought about it, and finally did not bid, and the others were not interested in participating, so Wang Hao finally won the spirit beast egg. Wang Hao quickly walked onto the round platform, paid the spirit stones, and put the spirit beast egg in his pocket. Wang Hao's spirit stones were completely drained, and he could only stay in the market to practice alchemy for a period of time in the future. The auction of the 2 foundation building pills did not cause any waves, but the atmosphere became more tense as time went on. Wang Hao found that many cultivators looked abnormal, with resentment in their eyes, and they were probably thinking about killing people and stealing treasures. All this had nothing to do with Wang Hao. Anyway, he would continue to live in the market for the next few years, and he didn't believe that anyone would touch him in the market. Wang Yanfeng also discovered this situation. As soon as the auction ended, he hurriedly took Wang Hao away from Qingyuan Pavilion. After handing over the spirit stones obtained from the auction of the pills, he went straight back to the 2nd floor of Wang's medicine shop and said, "Stay here for a day and go home when no one is paying attention." Wang Hao nodded, "Nephew, save the seriousness." Chapter 15 Practicing Magic. "Give it to me." Wang Yanfeng stretched out his hand and made a promise. "What? Spirit stones, why are you pretending to be so stupid? Your uncle is relying on this wealth to find a Taoist partner, and you still want to cheat him." Wang Hao was choked. His uncle, who was caring for his juniors just a moment ago, had a different expression. Was he just playing around and transforming in a second? He took out the storage bag and counted 200 spirit stones, and then took out 4 bottles of spirit-gathering pills. "That's all. I'll give you the rest after I refine the pills." Wang Yanfeng snatched the spirit stones and pills, and counted them twice like a money grubber before putting them into the storage bag. He coughed and regained his serious look. "Speaking of which, you have so many elixirs, where did the materials come from?" "Well, my mother often went into the mountains to hunt monsters in the early years, and left behind a lot of them, and also left behind some friendships, which my nephew traded with those seniors." Wang Hao evaded the question, secretly cursing himself for being careless, and successively took out 14 bottles of gathering spirit pills in front of Wang Yanfeng, which was not a small amount, and he couldn't show off his wealth like this in the future. When Wang Hao mentioned his mother, Wang Yanfeng's face darkened. In the final analysis, this matter was wrong by the Wang family. Not only did they break up the couple, but they also let their blood flow out. However, since it involved the decision of the elders, he couldn't say anything, but he looked at Wang Hao with a little more kindness, and felt that Wang Hao had not had a good time these years. When he met Wang Hao's soul had been replaced, so he didn't know how much of a bastard Wang Hao was before, which was why he didn't dislike Wang Hao. Wang Yanfeng also had to hand over the spiritual stones obtained from the auction to his family, so he did not stay in the medicine shop for long. After giving the spirit-gathering array to Wang Hao, he returned to the Wang family residence with some clansmen. Wang Hao rested in the medicine shop for a night, and returned to his home the next day after disguising himself. After returning home, he first looked after the farm, and then took out the unknown spirit beast egg. He took out 10 spirit stones, piled them up, and placed the spirit beast egg on the spirit stone pile. He bit his finger and used blood to draw a mysterious blood-colored rune on the spirit beast egg. The spirit beast egg emitted a faint spiritual light, and the blood-colored rune disappeared. This is the method taught by Wang Yanfeng for the spirit beast egg to recognize its master at the primary level. Of course, Wang Hao still needs to take good care of it. Only when the spirit beast breaks out of the shell and sees Wang Hao for the first time, the connection will be closer. Then Wang Hao began to arrange the spirit gathering array. With the array plate, it is very simple to set up the spirit gathering array. Wang Hao put 10 spirit stones into the array plate, and a blue spiritual energy light curtain was quickly generated, eventually forming a hemispherical spirit gathering space with a diameter of about 2 feet. Wang Hao operated it according to the instructions, and the spirit gathering array began to work. The spiritual energy of the surrounding heaven and earth was immediately drawn in. The spiritual energy in the light curtain became visibly denser, and even formed a wisp of mist on the ground. Wang Hao felt it and found that it was at least more than twice as dense as the spiritual energy outside. Cultivation in it naturally improved a lot. Wang Hao hurriedly sat down to meditate and began to practice. A month later, with the blessing of the spirit gathering array and the spirit gathering pill, Wang Hao finally completed the 4th level of Qi training. He was only one step away from the 5th level of Qi training. After a little experience, plus the experience of the last time, Wang Hao felt that the problem was not big, so he replaced the spirit gathering array with new spirit stones, and took out the Huanya pill, ready to break through. He has stored this bottle of Huanya pill for more than a year, just to break through the bottleneck. Huanya Dan is known for its violent medicinal properties. Wang Hao had a solemn expression when he swallowed it. The pill tasted slightly bitter, and then the medicinal power was released. Wang Hao only felt the pressure of dantian and meridians suddenly soared. The concentration of spiritual energy in the meridians became higher and higher, and Wang Hao gradually felt some swelling and pain. Fortunately, he had the experience last time and did not panic. Moreover, compared with the pain of the meridian tearing last time, this time was considered mild. Success. Wang Hao tried his best to control his excitement, silently recited the formula of the practice, and consolidated his realm. After one cycle after another, these spiritual energy were constantly refined into pure mana. The mana was guided by the practice into the already full dantian, which caused the dantian to continue to expand and withstand increased pressure. A day later, after increasing the upper limit of mana a little bit again, Wang Hao stopped practicing. Open the panel. Name, Wang Hao, age, 20 years old, cultivation, Qi training level 5 169/253, skills, Red Lotus Fantasy Wood Heart Sutra level 2, mana, 167.5/167.5, skills, alchemy, first level middle grade alchemy, talisman making, first level low grade talisman making, not yet mastered, spells, fireball, not yet mastered, entanglement, not yet mastered, magic power, you have not yet mastered the magic power. Section 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The data is not correct, there are too many decimal points. If you want to change it, you need to reset it, which is more troublesome, so the decimal points are omitted. Don't be too picky. After looking at the panel, although it is still shabby, Wang Hao is still very satisfied. This is the result of his hard work for more than 2 years. With the blessing of the spirit gathering array, his cultivation speed is now faster than that of the double spiritual root cultivators. He can practice Qi perfectly before the age of 40. What else do you want? At the 5th level of Qi training, it's time to set aside some time to practice spells, because Wang Hao is practicing the fire and wood attribute skills, the best choice is the fire and wood attribute spells, which will be more handy to use. As for other spells, you can buy talismans to solve it. It is the fireball and entanglement that Wang Hao had written on the panel a long time ago. As the name suggests, the fireball is a long-range attack, launching a ball of fire to attack the enemy, and the entanglement is a trapping technique, locking the enemy with wooden vines. In addition, there are defensive wooden shields, light body techniques for evasion and movement, and traction techniques that must be learned to control flying swords. Earth escape is a must for running away. Although these are basic spells, it is not easy for a true casual cultivator to get them. At least some spirit stones must be paid for them. However, Wang Hao is not a true casual cultivator. His mother has accumulated some, and Lao Wang has also taught him a lot. Unfortunately, there are only these few. Wang Hao does not have any spells like fire rain, earth wall, and ground spikes. Wang Hao also set a panel for these spells: practice 100 times to get started, 1,000 times to master, 3,000 times to be proficient, and 10,000 times to be a master. If you don't have enough talent, you can make up for it with diligence. Practice 6 master-level spells first, and then talk about other things. Wang Hao set a small goal for himself. 3 days later, after hundreds of times of practice, Wang Hao finally launched the first fireball, but when he looked at the mana consumption, his face suddenly turned black. I didn't expect the slap in the face to come so quickly. After the fireball was activated, it consumed 5 mana points. With his current mana of 167, it was only enough to practice 33 times, and it would take at least 2 hours for him to get full mana back. Without affecting his practice, he would spend at most 5 or 6 hours a day practicing, 2 rounds at most, 66 times. 10,000 times would take 152 days. 6 magic masters would need nearly 3 years. Fuck, why don't you just master it first? Wang Hao shook his head vigorously as soon as he had this thought. Wang Hao, wake up. It's true that you are practicing faster now, but you are taking shortcuts. Your qualifications and understanding are far worse than others. If you don't work harder, do you want to hide in the market for the rest of your life? After a few curses, Wang Hao's expression became firm again, and he bombarded the ground again and again. In a moment, the vegetable garden in his courtyard was in a mess. It's not that he didn't want to practice in the open space outside the market, but there was no one to protect him. When his mana was exhausted, what should he do if he encountered danger? He could only make do at home. Fortunately, his low-level spells couldn't make a big noise. Buy some earth wall talismans in a few days and transform the space, which would be more conducive to Wang Hao's practice and avoid affecting the buildings. Eating, sleeping, practicing magic, refining a batch of pills when the pills are finished, and quietly going out to sell a batch of goods when the spirit stones are insufficient. Wang Hao's life is tense and orderly. Chapter 16 Family Visitors. 3 years have passed in a flash, and the 23-year-old Wang Hao has become more and more handsome, capable and calm. Open the panel. Name, Wang Hao, age, 23 years old, cultivation, Qi training level 6299/380, Kung Fu, Red Lotus Fantasy Wood Heart Sutra level 2, mana, 298/298, skills, alchemy, first level upper grade alchemy, talisman, first level lower grade talisman, magic, fireball, master level, entanglement, master level, wooden shield, master level, traction, master level, light body, master level, magic. You haven't mastered the magical power yet. In 3 years, his strength has steadily improved. Due to frequent practice of magic, his magic power has been refined, and it is easier to break through than the 5th level of Qi training. 6 arts have been perfected, and the alchemy has been upgraded to the first-class upper grade. Now, he can refine the yellow dragon pill. In addition, he has entered the art of talismans, but he can only draw some evil-repelling talismans and cleansing talismans. If he wants to make money, he must at least advance to the first-class middle grade and draw attack and defense talismans such as fireball talismans. The farm has now opened up 16 grids of land, which is more than half, and the red land has been upgraded to 8 grids. If he uses the farm to make money, even if he only grows spiritual rice, he can produce 7,200 kilograms per month, which is 720 low-grade spiritual stones. If he exchanges it for high-efficiency spiritual talisman grass, this number will double. If the red land is planted with second-class spiritual plants, the value will be even higher. It's a pity that Qingyefeng City can't eat so many spiritual talisman grasses, and Wang Hao won't do this. 80% of the farm's output will be used for subsequent upgrades, 15% of the output will be used for alchemy and talismans, and the remaining half will be used by Wang Hao to exchange for spiritual stones. Even so, Wang Hao has an income of nearly 100 spiritual stones per month. Part of these spirit stones were used to maintain the operation of the spirit gathering array, part was used to buy talismans for travel, and the rest were all eaten by his spirit beast. The spirit beast egg he got 2 years ago was successfully hatched, and Wang Hao was not disappointed. It was a golden-eyed duck with wings that could fly. Wang Hao's knowledge was limited, and he couldn't tell its origins. He didn't know if it could grow to the second level. Even if it was just a first-level flying spirit beast, its value was more than 120 spirit stones. Qi training cultivators cannot fly, but flying spirit beasts can take them away and save lives at critical moments. Golden-eyed duck is not as difficult to raise as Han Laoma's sleeping king, but he has a big appetite. Every morning he will knock on the rice bowl to wake Wang Hao up. Its squawking sound is very annoying. Later, Wang Hao bought a spirit animal bag, which he usually carried so as not to affect his rest. He is also picky about food. He doesn't eat much spiritual rice, he only eats meat and spiritual fruits, and Wang Hao is also very surprised that a duck eats meat. There is no shortage of monster meat in Qingyefeng market, and the price is more than twice as expensive as spiritual rice. Golden-eyed duck eats once every 3 or 4 days, at least 20 kilograms at a time, which is 40 spiritual stones a month. Most people really can't bear it. It was feeding time again, and Wang Hao released the golden-eyed duck from the spirit beast bag. A duck with a black body and golden eyes, nearly 5 feet tall, appeared in front of him. When he saw Wang Hao, he quacked twice and rubbed his head affectionately against Wang Hao. Spiritual beasts hatched by one's own hands are naturally close to their masters. Spiritual beasts captured halfway have to obey the cultivators just because of the existence of restrictions. Once their level is higher than that of their masters, there is a risk of devouring their masters. However, those hatched from a young age have a higher chance of devouring their masters. It will be much lower. Without this restriction, those high-level monsters would have been subdued by the great sex and become mountain guardian spirit beasts. The lifespan of a spiritual beast is much longer than that of an immortal cultivator. Even a first-level beast can live for 400 to 500 years. A second-level beast can live for 1,000 years, and its growth is extremely slow accordingly. The golden-eyed duck has been raised by Wang Hao using monster meat for 2 years. Except for the increase in size, it is still a first-level low-grade duck with no signs of advancement. A first-order low-grade flying spirit beast has a poor load-carrying capacity and cannot be used as a mount. It doesn't help Wang Hao at the moment, but Wang Hao believes that golden-eyed duck will one day advance. Wang Hao took out a large piece of monster meat, and the golden-eyed duck immediately flapped its wings and screamed excitedly. "Foodie, I hope you will be of great use in the future." Quack seemed to be a response to Wang Hao, and the golden-eyed duck quacked twice more. Wang Hao gave it the meat of the monster beast. After it had eaten and drank enough, it ran around and played around in the courtyard. Wang Hao struggled with it for a while before putting it back into the spirit beast bag. At this time, Wang Hao found that the restriction outside the door had been triggered. After opening the door, he found 2 young people wearing Wang family robes, 1 man and 1 woman, only 20 years old. The man had thick eyebrows and big eyes, and a strong body, as if he was practicing. The female monk is petite in stature, has a round face and big eyes, and is extremely cute. "What do you want to do with Wang?" Wang Hao asked. The male monk looked a little embarrassed and moved his lips without making a sound for a long time. It was the girl who spoke first. "Fifth brother, we are all family monks. My name is Wang Wenmei. I am the 9th oldest. Fifth brother can call me 9th sister." Then he pointed at the big man. This is seventh brother Wang Wenji. Seeing Wang Wenmei speak, Wang Wenji also lowered his head and saluted. I've seen fifth brother. Fifth brother? Wang Hao's face was full of doubts. He was disliked by the Wang family in his early years, and he rarely had contact with the Wang family after his arrival. Except for Wang Yanfeng, no one in the Wang family took the initiative to contact Wang Hao. What happened today? The fifth brother is the fifth among the literary generation, so he is naturally our fifth brother. Wang Wenmei explained. He stretched out his hand to avoid hitting the smiling man. The two of them were calling fifth brother. Wang Hao didn't need to look down on them. The grudge was also made by the original leader of the Wang family. It had nothing to do with these juniors, but because they called brother, he took it. As a member of the Wang family, Wang Hao asked himself that he was not so mean. So he asked calmly, what do you two want to see Wang? That the two of them seemed to have been entrusted. When they saw Wang Hao's indifferent tone and did not cause any trouble, they cupped their hands and said, fifth brother, second uncle is now a foundation building monk. The foundation building ceremony will be held next month. We are here to invite you to participate. Foundation building ceremony. Lao Wang has indeed established the foundation. Wang Hao began to think in his mind, he has already practiced Qi at the 6th level, and the Red Lotus Magic with Heart Sutra only has the first 2 levels. It is urgent to get the follow-up skills. Lao Wang, I definitely want to see it, this is an opportunity. However, you still need to ask questions clearly about some things, and don't fall for other people's tricks. Does Lao Wang mean to invite me to participate? Who is Lao Wang? That's Wang Yanzhao. Wang Hao explained. The two of them were so shocked that they called their father Lao Wang. They had never seen him before. It took them a long time to come back to their senses. Oh, it was the second uncle who asked us to invite the fifth brother. The monks were stationed in Hofeng City in 10 days. They will also go back to the mountains for rotation, so fifth brother can just go with them. Will Uncle 8 also come back to the mountain? Yes, the 8th uncle has been friends with the second uncle since childhood, so he will naturally come back to the mountain to congratulate him. Okay, I understand. I will go to the elixir shop to meet my 8th uncle in 10 days. There is some chaos at home, so I won't entertain you too. Go slowly. After that, Wang Hao closed the door. The two looked at each other, and Wang Wenmei smiled awkwardly. This fifth brother is really unusual. Wang Wenji was also furious. Humph, we are so nice to talk to him, but his attitude is really annoying. Seventh brother, be careful. Second uncle is now a foundation building monk, and he loves this fifth brother very much. I didn't say anything, it was his bad attitude. Wang Wenji pursed his lips, but in the end he did not dare to say anything unpleasant. Wang Wenmei sighed and advised, seventh brother, put yourself in my shoes. If you were the fifth brother, abandoned by your family since childhood, and lived alone in this city for more than 20 years, would you not have any resentment in your heart? Hey, why didn't I know? But we didn't provoke him. We are Wang family cultivators. We have been supported by our family since childhood and have been guided by our elders in cultivation. Look at what the fifth brother has. He doesn't even have a decent Taoist robe. How can he have a good impression of us? He is already broad-minded for not saying anything bad. Wang Wenmei thought of Wang Hao's tattered Taoist robe just now and sighed. Wang Wenji also fell silent immediately. Yes, I heard that the fifth brother still has 5 spiritual roots, but I just saw his breath, and it is clearly the 6th level of Qi training. I think he practices very hard every day. That the two felt distressed and admired. At the same time, they also felt ashamed for not practicing hard despite such good conditions. Chapter 17. Wang Jieling, Wang Hao, who returned to the room, did not know the conversation between the two. If he knew, he would definitely call it wronged. Section 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. God knows, Wang Hao is not playing the victim. He has been practicing magic for the past few years. It is inevitable that his robe will be damaged due to bumps and bruises. It is not that he has no money to buy a new one. He just hasn't been out recently. Who would have thought that he would be bumped into by the two of them? Wang Hao was thinking about the gift. Of course, he didn't have to give it, but wouldn't it be asking for help? The golden silk apricots on the farm have already produced several crops. In order to upgrade the red soil, Wang Hao sold several batches. Now there are hundreds of stocks in the warehouse, but this thing is owned by the Wang family, it is not new, and it is difficult to explain the source if he takes it out. Another thing is the red blood ginseng planted on the red soil. The oldest 1 acre has reached 50 years, which is considered a first-class high-quality spiritual medicine, but it is also not precious enough, too common. Wang Hao finally chose a white snow lotus, which is only 40 years old, but your spiritual medicine is rare. King Niafang has not seen one for several years. It is no problem to sell a 50-year-old one for hundreds of spiritual stones, which is almost catching up with the common second-class low-quality spiritual medicine. At this time, Wang Hao felt that he had too little knowledge and had wasted 6 pieces of red land in vain. At the same time, he also strengthened his determination to leave the market. He could live in seclusion in cultivation, but he had to fight for resources. On the day agreed with Wang Wenmei and her brother and sister, Wang Hao was ready to set off. In order to prevent the golden-eyed duck from making trouble on the road, Wang Hao decided to feed it first. Wang Hao released the golden-eyed duck, took out several pieces of monster meat, threw them on the ground, and finished them in a few seconds, but it was still not satisfied, and it was quacking in its mouth. Wang Hao threw it several pounds of monster meat again, and the golden-eyed duck was satisfied, but it was not making trouble like usual, but was drowsy instead. Is this a sign of advancement? Wang Hao muttered to himself. The advancement of spirit beasts is different from that of cultivators. Basically, as long as they eat enough, it will be fine. Wang Hao took out a red essence grass from the warehouse. It was a common spiritual medicine used to refine some solid foundation and nourishing elixir. Wang Hao did not have this kind of elixir recipe now, but for spirit beasts, taking it raw can already exert more than 70% of its medicinal effect. He handed it to the golden-eyed duck's mouth. The golden-eyed duck opened its mouth and swallowed the whole spiritual grass, squinting its eyes comfortably. Wang Hao saw that it was in good condition, so he ignored it, put it into the spirit beast bag, and walked towards the Wang family shop. Wang Yanfeng was already waiting, and there were also Wang Wenmei and his sister. The two of them came to the market to deliver invitations to various families. After completing the task, they naturally went back together. The 4 people greeted each other and got on a carriage powered by the wind-chasing horse. The 4 of them were all chi-training cultivators and could not fly with swords. The Wang family was not big enough to equip the chi-training clansmen with flying boats or flying spirit beasts, so they could only make carriages. However, this wind-chasing horse is also a first-class high-quality spirit beast. It is very fast. It is not a problem to travel 1,000 miles a day, and it has excellent endurance. Wangjiling, where the Wang family is located, is only 5,000 miles away, and it only takes less than 5 days to reach. Along the way, Wang Wenmei was quite warm and told Wang Hao a lot about the Wang family's residence. Wang Hao was not the kind of cold-faced person, and the relationship between the few people became quite close. It is said that Wangjiling was formerly called Crouching Tiger Mountain, which was the territory of a second-level upper-grade demon tiger. Later, it was killed by the ancestor of the Wang family. After the family was established here, it was renamed Wangjiling. Its spiritual vein is second-level upper-grade, and it is not a problem to raise 2 or 3 foundation-building cultivators and hundreds of chi-training cultivators, but more will not be enough. The Wang family now has 3 foundation-building cultivators, and the spiritual vein is estimated to be unable to support it. I am afraid that there will be some actions later. Of course, all this is just Wang Hao's guess. It was the first time for Wang Hao to go out far away, and he was still very curious about the outside world. He was not bored to see the scenery and chat along the way. During this time, Wang Wenji asked Wang Hao how to improve his cultivation. Wang Hao told him about the spirit gathering array and said that he could refine pills, so the speed was so fast. The two brothers and sisters had never gone out to practice, so they were easily fooled by Wang Hao. Wang Yanfeng was not so easy. The consumption of the spirit-gathering array and the elixir was not low, and it was not something that ordinary people could afford. However, he thought it was the savings left by Wang Hao's mother or given by Wang Yanzhao, so he didn't ask much. The shape of Wangjiling is like a huge semicircle, nearly 30 miles long and 10 miles wide. The terrain is high in the south and low in the north, and the highest point is more than 400 feet. There is a mountain gate at the foot of the mountain. The Wang family sent out invitations a year ago. Now that the date is approaching, guests have come to Wangjiling. The Wang family also sent people to the foot of the mountain to receive them, so as not to neglect the guests. A middle-aged cultivator of the 9th level of foundation building is guarding the mountain gate with 4 young men. Seeing the carriage, the middle-aged monk said, "Guests are coming. Dress up and be energetic. We represent the Wang family." A green wind-chasing horse brought the carriage along the road, and 4 cultivators sat on it. It was Wang Hao and his party. "Brother, stop busying yourself. It's me." Wang Yanfeng shouted from a distance. The middle-aged monk smiled when he heard it. "It turned out to be my 8th brother. I thought it was another guest." "Oh, what's the matter, are you disappointed to see me? You kid, you dare to tease me after a few years of experience." He looked at the carriage and found Wang Hao, and asked, "Who is this?" "This is my 2nd brother's eldest son Wang Hao." Wang Yanfeng pulled Wang Hao out of the car and introduced him. "Wang Hao, this is your uncle Wang Yanzhong, come and greet him." The warm scene stagnated, and Wang Hao's face turned cold unconsciously. It was this person who took Wang Yanzhao away from the market without even leaving a message to Qin Xiu'er. Although Wang Hao did not inherit the emotions of his original body, he still despised such people. It would be fine if he just disagreed with the marriage, but didn't he need to explain it clearly to the girl? Wang Yanfeng also shuddered and suddenly remembered what happened. He slapped his forehead in regret. "Brother, I just remembered that I have something to report." "We'll go first, you go." With a look, Wenmei and Wenji, the brothers and sisters, immediately lifted one of Wang Hao's arms and pulled him back onto the carriage. Wang Yanfeng whipped the wind-chasing horse hard without saying a word. When he could no longer see Wang Yanzhong and others, he slowed down the car and sighed. "Wang Hao, Uncle Ba is not clear about what happened back then, and I won't comment on it, but it seems that Brother Heir wants you to recognize your ancestors and return to your roots. If you want to live in the Wang family, you must." Wang Hao waved his hand to stop him. "Uncle Ba, I understand, but I have never thought about returning to the Wang family, and I will not live in Wangjiling." That he came here for the subsequent exercises of the Red Lotus Fantasy Wood Heart Sutra. As for the others, he really looked down on them. Wang Yanfeng frowned and his expression became solemn. "Hey, you should discuss this with Brother Heir. Drive." The carriage stopped at the square halfway up the mountain. The square is quite large. Guests invited to the foundation building ceremony all get off here. In the middle of the square stands a huge bluestone with 3 characters Wangjiling written on it. Further up is the Wang family's important land, where horses cannot pass. One can only see courtyards built along the mountain. The top of the mountain is shrouded in fog and cannot be seen clearly. A bluestone staircase leads directly to the top of the mountain. There are many pavilions along the way. Walking along the mountain, there are bamboo forests, streams, and waterfalls. It is quite unique. If it were placed on Blue Star, it would be a 5A level scenic spot. Chapter 18 5 Major Families. Wenmei, Uncle 8 has something to report to the head of the family. You take your 5th brother to his residence. Wenji, go inform your 2nd uncle. Wang Yanfeng said. Wang Hao, go see your father first. Yes. 5th brother, please. Well, thank you, 9th sister. Wang Wenmei introduced as she walked. When passing by a platform, she said, 5th brother, this is the martial arts arena. The children of the family usually practice magic here, and sometimes they also exchange ideas. The elders come here every few days to give guidance. When passing by an apricot forest, this is the golden silk apricot. the family has 19 first-level spiritual apricot trees and 1 second-level spiritual apricot tree. When passing by the bamboo forest, this bamboo forest was planted by the first-generation patriarch when my Wang family was established. The oldest one is more than 300 years old. It is a second-level high-quality spiritual bamboo. In addition, the family's school is located here. After introducing it all the way, Wang Hao got a general understanding of Wangjialing. The Wang family can only be regarded as a small family. There are less than 100 Chi-refining clan members. Many functions are not divided. The power is controlled by the foundation-building cultivators and several elders with high seniority. If it is a larger family, this will inevitably cause chaos. Finally, the two came to an antique attic. Fifth brother, this is the residence arranged by the second uncle for you. Old Wang also lives here. What Wang Hao actually wanted to ask was whether Li Deshi and her children lived here. My second uncle has already established his foundation, and his cave is on the top of the mountain. It's not far from where I live. If you feel bored, you can come find me. Also, there are many guests in the family recently, and there are still some places in the family residence that cannot be visited. I understand, I won't run around. Wang Hao nodded and agreed. Then I'm relieved. Fifth brother, you take a rest first, I'm leaving. Well, thank you, ninth sister, take care. Wang Hao walked into the attic. The furnishings were quite elegant, and he was a little tired after running all the way, so he sat down to rest. About an incense stick of time, Wang Yanzhao pushed the door in. Seeing Wang Hao meditating and practicing, he didn't disturb him, and brewed tea on his own. Wang Hao finished practicing for a week before he stood up. Seeing Wang Yanzhao's expression was a bit complicated, he didn't inherit the original owner's emotions, and didn't hate Wang Yanzhao, but it was really difficult for him to call Dad. When I first crossed over, I had this idea, which was just like calling Yun Dad on the internet. If anyone really called Yun Dad in real life, that would be pure brain damage. And although Wang Yanzhao is not hateful, he is also a scumbag in Wang Hao's heart. He called him for the sake of the technique? Wang Hao asked himself if he was so shameless. Wang Yanzhao filled the cup with tea, drank it slowly, and then said, seeing your calm breath, I think you have really put in a lot of effort in cultivation over the years, but have you figured it out? Wang Hao coughed twice, then said, Old Wang. Just tell me, what will you give me in the follow-up technique? Puff. Wang Yanzhao sprayed a mouthful of tea. What did you call me? Well, Old Wang, is there a problem? Wang Hao was also a little embarrassed, but this is the only way for now. Well, that's good, no problem, call me that. Wang Yanzhao wiped his clothes. He didn't mind what Wang Hao called him. In the past, Wang Hao had never called him father, but now this attitude made him very satisfied. If it was before, the two of them would quarrel after just a few words. You switched to practicing the Red Lotus Fantasy with Sutra, and you must have understood the benefits. With such a technique, even your father can't give you the foundation building stage. In other words, the third level can be given to me. Well, that's it. Wang Yanzhao poured another cup of tea and blew it gently. But you don't want the foundation building stage technique? Don't want to build a foundation. What do you want me to do? Recognize your ancestors and become the core child of the family, otherwise even if your father is a foundation building cultivator, you can't bypass the family rules. Wang Yanzhao smiled and added, the Red Lotus Fantasy with Sutra family has a total of 7 levels, which can be cultivated to the Golden Core stage. Damn, this is tempting. I'm afraid the conditions for this core child are not low. Wang Yanzhao said calmly, with your current cultivation speed and your status as an alchemist, it is not difficult. As long as you have been refining alchemy for the family for more than 10 years, the accumulated contribution will be enough to exchange for subsequent exercises. Wang Hao thought for a while, and there was no harm in joining the Wang family, so he nodded. It's okay to recognize your ancestors and return to the clan, but I won't stay in the Wang family. Wang Yanzhao smiled with satisfaction. No problem, you can continue to live in Qingniafang City. If you want to work, you can work in the family's elixir shop. It just so happens that your eighth uncle comes back, and it will be yours to work there from now on. I'm sitting in the pill shop in the middle of qi training. Are you still far from the late stage of qi refining? It will take at least a year and a half. That's it, there's nothing serious in Qingniafang. Even if something happens, it will be handled by the foundation building monks in Zhenfang City. Your cultivation level is enough. He said and threw a token to Wang Hao. This is the store management order. Card, the elixir shop will be under your control from now on. You are ready for this, don't you need other people's consent? Agree to what? Isn't it necessary to have a ceremony to recognize your ancestor and return to your clan? What kind of ceremony do you want? You are my son. You and I agreed. It's nothing more than adding a name to the family tree. What do they need to agree to? Wang Yanzhao said matter-of-factly. Are all foundation establishment monks so awesome? Only then did Wang Hao realize that he seemed to have been tricked by Lao Wang. Gone, this old scumbag is really not simple. Okay, my father still has to receive guests, so I won't stay any longer. These are the third-level exercises, several kinds of elixir recipes, and my father's experience in alchemy, Wang Yanzhao sniffed lightly and said, the aroma of at least 40-year-old alyssum.